Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome everyone to Two Bros Podcast, episode number 14.
14, wow.
And we are fortunate to have a guest with us, Mr. Ernest Rouse.
Good morning, good morning.
Give
good
it up
morning.
for Ernest Rouse.
Yes. Good morning, good morning.
Fellow level 1 member, and I banged the table.
See, you telling me not to bang the table.
I knew. Fellow level 1 member, and we brought you on. As you know, we are unscripted, undialogue.
Mm-hmm.
So don't say anything you don't want to say because we don't edit shit. We let it roll, man. We let it roll. So welcome, and thank you for joining us. And with the hashtag Join the Convo.
Right, okay.
We're joining the conversation. So here at Two Bros Podcast, we just pick your brain and talk about
talk about shit.
Yeah, we just talk.
I just want to say I would be remiss if I didn't thank you, brothers, for allowing me to be here this morning to enjoy and receive this platform because this medium is something that we should all embrace.
Yeah.
These kids today that we are coming behind us need to be involved, especially in the community. And this entrepreneurial spirit is something that this brother, I just met you today, John, but I'm sure that the DNA doesn't fall
a little bit
from the tree, but to be able to embrace this is a challenge within itself because back in the days when things kept piling up, there would be somebody say like, "Uncle, I had enough."
Right.
So to be able for his brother to be able to continue to do this is it's something that we should all share and enjoy.
Well, that's the thing is, the platform is just that. And, we were using it for play. And then we said, hey, wait a minute. Can be used abroad. It's worldwide. And,
Right.
So what were you going to say, John?
No, I was going to say that the key word you mentioned was embrace it. You have to, you can only fight it for so long. You can only be that bitter curmudgeon that says, "Oh, I don't know anything about that," and stuff. And so there's an entrepreneur. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he says, when if you're too stubborn to Google shit, fuck you.
Yeah,
right.
You're just gonna get lost
and left behind.
Absolutely. And so if you're unwilling to engage in anything, even at the base level, you're going to get lost, and you're going to fall further behind to the point where you are virtually irrelevant.
Well, I have this discussion with my grandson all the time. We were driving down the road one day, and we saw this big high-rise superstructure being erected, and he said, "Wow, those guys working on those buildings must make a lot of money." I said, "They make a lot of money, but the guy who designed it is the guy who's going to get paid.
Right.
You get paid more for your ideas than your actual labor.
Right.
So the entrepreneurial is where you're going to excel. So within reason, hopefully you'll grasp that because years ago there was no iPhone.
Yeah.
There was none of this new technology. Someone had to go and invent it.
Right.
So those are the guys that are getting paid for it. And I'm sure even though you have the new technology, there's nuances that you can expand upon and get paid for that as well.
Get paid for that as well. Yep.
Yeah, listen, that's the idea behind all of this, and speaking of that, which was one of the reasons why I thought you'd be interesting to come on the show. Well, speaking of technology and getting in front of it, what are we gonna do about Bitcoin, my friend?
Well, I tell you, the thing is on fire. Everyone wants to be involved in it, and I get a little skeptical.
Yep.
I myself personally didn't buy the actual Bitcoin itself, but I bought what you call a derivative of Bitcoin, an ETF, and that grew exponentially. And
really,
this is like an anomaly. This event that's going on, like in the beginning, where you had the .com companies,
right?
This big explosion and this economic development, we've never seen that in the past. So people were reticent to embrace it. So I think that at some point in time, it may come back a little bit. From the price last I checked, it was like 19,000 or 20,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's been fluctuating. It's been going through huge.
It's violent.
Right. Yeah.
Violent.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if you ask 10 different people about Bitcoin, you get 10 different answers.
Yes.
Right.
Because it's hard to understand this cryptocurrency craze that we're going. And there's going to be some fallout, but horses out of the barn. We're not going back to the square wheel. So
Right.
that is the future.
Right.
How it falls into place, I'm not sure. I can't really give you a direction. Just
So we're essentially waiting for something to stabilize.
Yeah.
We're waiting for something
Yeah.
so that the highs don't get too high, the lows don't get too low.
Right.
We're waiting for some measure of stabilization, so that we can sort of like gauge. Okay, so if I put in X amount here, I'm willing to accept a certain loss because right now
Right.
you don't know if you're putting in X amount of dollars. Well, that may be gone like within the next day or two.
In order to buy like one Bitcoin, it's $20,000.
Right.
All right. So you got to be willing to be able to risk that. So if can you be able to stand the pressure if it doesn't work your way?
Right.
Right. I mean, and in 09, they were $600. You know what I'm saying? And before that, they were 400. And 08, when I first got my first PayPal account, I was able to get some Bitcoins by mining. I was mining some one of these websites where you just keep it on all day long. It was a robot, and I was like, dude, this shit is killing it was a virus. I mean, it was literally a virus, but I was earning Bitcoins, and I earned like 800 milligigs or whatever else.
Right.
It turned out to be like 28 cents, something like that. And I was like, let me get off of this thing. It's just a virus. It was a backdoor to a virus. And so I think that's what people are looking at it going, hey, I'm not sure. And everybody's waiting for someone else to tell them how sure they are about it,
Well, the key, I would say, is regulation. It's not regulated.
Right.
It's like the Wild West.
Right.
The fear is that you would use this money to buy drugs,
right,
finance terrorism and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so governments have no control. But again, we're going to move past that because this Bitcoin to come into existence, there's a need. There's some sort of a want for this.
Well, privacy. People are dying to be, which is what the dollar allowed people to have, is some bit of anonymous, right?
Yeah,
being able to
anonymity.
Being able to buy my stuff without you tethering it to my account, to my saving, to my profile, and the more that people continue to be profiled, this dial back. So now you have the conventional way that we've been, I guess, in the last 20 years, we've been actually become used to putting your profile into things. Oh, just sign in with Google, just sign in with Facebook, just sign in with some sort of an account. And I think that now is scaring the shit out of institutions. They're saying, wait a minute, we're obsolete now? Like, they don't need us?
They're in control.
The bank guy with a suit on, and he sits in his office and does 2 things a day. Like, in your job or in anybody's job, you like, how many things can you get done in your 8 hours that you're there?
Right.
The guys that sit at the high level do like 2 big things a day. Like, sign a check, have one meeting with someone, and the rest of the day is like,
They pay someone to think for them.
Exactly. So those days are, I think that's what these people are going, we're being outed. It's like a coup.
Yeah.
But there was a company back in, I think, 09, maybe 2010, MTGox was a Japanese Bitcoin company.
Yeah.
They were the first to mega pop out. They walked away with $400 million and shut down the website, and people said, where the fuck did my money go?
Yeah. Well,
and guess what? People said, federal government said, aha, we told you so.
Yeah.
Don't call us.
Right. You have no recourse.
You have no recourse.
They
recourse.
can't, if somebody hacks, like a few of these exchanges where you transfer these Bitcoins have gotten hacked.
Yeah.
And, the encryption, they've hacked it and you're not able to get your money back.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Because it's not FDIC insured.
Right.
You only FDIC insured like on maybe 200,000, 250,000 anyway.
Right.
So
there's $100,000 per bank, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Bank is like 100,000.
So this particular exchange, is not the first time, lost like $64 million.
Yeah.
So there's risk.
Yeah, there's super risk.
There's risk in everything.
There's risk in everything.
There's risk in everything, and I think that if as a cryptocurrency world grows, I don't think it should grow that big where you're risking everything on it. Where if you had it to a point where, okay, you know what, I want to just pay for like a candy bar, or I want to do menial things where cash and loose change, petty change was. Then I think it's worth it. Then I think it really has a space because then it lives under a level the way it doesn't hurt anyone.
Well, that's what happened with a lot of online and wireless transactions in developing African nations. because
Exactly.
they went from poverty to a substantial middle class, and they sort of circumvented cash.
Yeah.
So there's in which they don't need cash. So now you look at us and the development of places like China, in which they're starting to develop a greater middle class.
Yeah.
They might circumvent actual online transactions and,
Sure.
and start saying, hey, how can we use Bitcoin to our advantage? Because they're starting from nothing.
Yeah, but
They're starting from nothing, and now they're building up. So why would they? Why would you start at the back of the race, so to speak?
Yeah,
Why would you start with
start in the front.
Right? You want to start closer towards the front of the race, and so when you look at like nations that are attempting to move their people from poverty to their middle class, they're going to start doing things like more Bitcoin.
Yeah, but like Nigeria, Lagos, and all these other crazy countries, they are so involved in the digital currency world that we're like kind of the slaves. They figured it out because they don't trust their own governments, they don't trust their own people, and you get a guy with a prepaid, and it started from prepaid cards.
Yes.
It started from SIM cards. It was just minutes. Traded minutes. Then, when I go to Europe and I go to London, everything is top up. I'm like, what's this top up? What do they keep saying? It's refill. It's what we call refill. They call it top up.
Right.
But man, trading minutes was like cash. Like, I'll trade you. I'll give. Somebody would go to a bar and say, well, I'll give you 30 minutes.
It's no different than when they used to barter back in the days.
Yeah.
I'll give you a chicken. Now we got Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
Technological approach to it.
So let's say an economy like the U.S. economy. Granted, we have our fluctuations, but it's still relatively the most stable economy in the world.
Yes.
Can an economy like that is relatively stable, can that take a chance on making a huge leap into something like Bitcoin? Or does it have to be?
It's already happening. Goldman Sachs is getting involved in the CME, which is a big exchange along with the stock market, is making some sort of framework. So it's got tradable currency.
Okay.
Once it starts to trade, then it goes across the open spectrum. So I can go into Toyota with Bitcoins and buy cars as opposed to going these dark kiosks.
Right.
So it's out in the open. So it's in motion. It's just how it evolves and develops to become something that's more mainstream.
Yeah, but acceptable. I mean,
acceptable.
Remember when
it's like counterfeit. If you have counterfeit money, who's in charge? Whose Bitcoin is real? So that some of these exchanges will fall by, not cut you off, but some of these exchanges will fall by the wayside because you can't have. It's like you talking about Africa before. There's so many different factions that there's not a common way to do commerce. It's common.
But the conventional way of marketing still exists in it. There was a time when not a lot of stores accepted MasterCard or American Express.
Right.
So there was a time where Diners Club, remember Diners Club?
That's right. What happened to them?
They were a Bitcoin at one point. They were some sort of a digital currency. They had backing, but it was an exclusive type of thing. Remember that?
Yeah,
So we often on the show always talk about what was, what is, and what will be.
Right.
And we're always saying, what will be? What's next? Like, what's the next? And so this cryptocurrency stuff is on fire.
Well, everyone's talking about it. You find you're getting a cab. You walk out on the street, everybody's talking about it. So what these guys are the professionals, so-called professionals, who think they know everything.
Right.
Now, if you know how to make money, you're not going to tell everyone else how to do it. So they can sit and tell you what to do.
You're going to make your money first.
They know exactly what to do, but no one really knows.
Right.
So, but the rule of thumb is that when the guys in the common guys in the taxi cabs start talking about this stuff, it's time to get out. Myself, I kind of went against the grain a couple of months ago and got beat up because this market is just it's on fire.
Dangerous.
So at some point in time, nothing ever goes straight up.
Right.
So it has peaks and valleys, and we've been going straight up for
a long time. There's going to be a valley.
Yeah,
it's going to be a valley.
I don't know how.
Well, we're not wishing for it.
No, we're not wishing for it.
But that's.
But it's different now because it's not like the old 1920s when it was a crash. Well, we've had a recession. We've had them.
Sure.
So it's a little bit different now. So again, we're not wishing for it, but it still has the correct.
It has the formula is there.
Yeah, at some point in time, it's timing.
Right.
It's timing.
I've read a lot of people are starting to actually make their investments in precious metals, like in the gold and like using their securities to purchase gold and silver and platinum to a point where it's actually tradable, so that you can actually use. I mean, some institutions have forms of credit based on how much money you've invested in gold and silver and platinum.
Well,
So it's not actually it's not based on the U.S. dollar. It's based on that value in gold.
Well, we used to be on the gold standard. I forget what president took us off of it because the dollar is so
Wasn't it
highly
Kennedy?
inflated. I can't. I would.
No, well, Kennedy was part of. Well, no, you go back further than that because you know Abraham Lincoln and he was the one that said that the note had to be tied to something.
Yes. Right.
And that it always had to be based on an amount of gold in Fort Knox or whatever it was that they had it, and so that when guys started saying, "But Woodrow Wilson said that forget the army, give me the guy who can control the notes, whoever could write the notes is in charge," and that was the most dangerous idea about greenbacks at the time they were called. So it's probably a good thing to have it tied to something, but I think that what's happening here is that the big wigs, the big banks, and these guys are looking like what you just said. They're kind of upset that we've cracked the code.
Yeah,
we cracked the code. The normal person has gotten to the point of saying, "Yeah, I don't need these fuckers. I can do what they do." Yeah. We can create a society, and this whole social networking is the key to it.
Yep.
Because it has enabled people to gather and commune and get together and go, "Hey, let's all do this. Let's do this," and make him the joke. Right. This guy turns the corner. He's the funny guy. Well,
the medium is so powerful, man. So everything is instantaneous.
Yeah.
A real sidebar, real quick. Like when we have some issues with law enforcement and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. These things have been going on all along.
Right. Yeah.
But now they come to light quicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember as a kid, I used to pay 7 cents for the Daily News, and you had to wait till the next day to find out
something happened.
In the meantime, 100 million different things have happened
since
that edition came out.
Right.
So now, so many people with cameras and stuff like that, so people are exposed, and you can reach so many different people
in immediately over time.
Global.
Speaking of sports like that, like switching the topic a little bit, but the same concept was, you had to wait till the paper came out to
figure out who won last night.
If they were out of market
and play the number.
yeah,
that too.
Yeah,
absolutely. But even when it comes to like the lower level, like high school basketball and football, you didn't know about a kid across town.
Nope.
You had no idea unless someone actually told you, say, "Hey, you got to see this kid." And that's when scouting was going. Guys were jumping on planes and going recruiting. Now everybody's going on YouTube and checking out the guy's video and saying, "Oh, this kid is hot. Let me see what he could do."
When my son was going to graduate in high school, I sent CDs to.
Yeah,
I'm sure you probably did as well. Send them to the coach, as opposed to having one location. That's why they have the AAUs and stuff like that instead of going all over the place. So it's it's a viable product. I mean, it's made our lives easier, and at the same time made it a lot complicated and a little bit harder.
Right.
Well, speaking of sports and your son, I mean, we're talking. We're Archbishop Malloy alumni. Our kids both played for the Honorable Jack Curran.
Yes.
Wow. Ernest Rouse Jr. went to Harvard.
Yes.
Now that's, I've never known anyone that's gone to Harvard. So when his son got accepted, first of all, was he the all-time highest scorer in Malloy at this point?
No.
I mean, he had 45 in a game, and that wasn't a half.
Yeah, no, I know.
I have the video. We'll cut to the video.
Well, he only played 2 years in the varsity, so some of those guys played 3-4 years.
Some of the guys, like Kenny Anderson, those guys played all varsity.
Anderson, forget about
it. Yeah, they played 4 years or 3 years.
He's 1,000 points, I think 1,400 points or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
he had 1,000 points at Bridgeport as well.
Right.
One of the top 10 guys there that scored over 1,000 points. Me, it took me 1,000 points to score for like my whole career when I played.
Now you went to where?
I went to Brooklyn Tech.
You went to Brooklyn Tech.
Yeah, I was good in the park. I wasn't good on the course because I don't know. I just couldn't. I was great on defense.
You wore the uniform well. I see the pictures. You got the fro.
Brooklyn. That's when I went to Brooklyn College. Then I kind of came out of my shell a little bit,
Nice.
So I was a little bit more.
Well, you got to do
aggressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was more of a defensive player. I always tell him I could stop him anytime, but. He was a pure scorer. Speaking of Harvard, these kids are so they don't see. Some don't see the value of that. My
Yeah.
wife, she's been preaching education,
Sure,
education, and
sure.
that's the key to what this whole society, uplifting program. And he, got Columbia and Harvard.
Wow.
all Ivy League.
Columbia
Wow.
was the coaches were coming by the house to want him to come, but
Sure.
we felt that you always want to try to put your kids in a position to be successful.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
But it's up to them to embrace it and move on. But for some reason, it didn't completely. Well, he loved to play basketball.
Yeah, but it didn't fulfill him in a way.
that sense. So
Yeah.
that was a big part of his life, his whole career.
Yeah.
And he never really struggled in any part of academia.
Right.
He was very, very intelligent kid. Still is.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
And he thought we were more excited about him going to Harvard than he was,
Right.
But he doesn't understand, sometimes they don't grasp the gravity of it,
Yeah.
going to these universities. I mean, you can succeed in coming out of any school.
Sure.
But
absolutely.
this puts you in that position to really do something great with your life.
Yeah.
You can always get a job.
Yeah.
What's your legacy? What's your footprint in life? So if someone puts you in that position, maybe it succeeds and maybe it doesn't. But
Yeah.
he went on his own after a couple of years. Went there a couple of years.
Yeah.
And he went on his own, got a full scholarship to Bridgeport University.
Yep.
Graduated.
Very well.
And it's smart kids. It's all about being comfortable. So if I had to do it over again, I probably would do the same thing over. But I would say let these kids decide what they want to do.
You don't know what
Now it's on them to
Right.
succeed. It's
Yeah,
on them.
absolutely.
I didn't put you. I didn't decide for you. It's on you, and they'll do it because if you want it, you will do it.
Yeah. But I mean that we find ourselves as parents, and I think my brother and I talked about this at a bar. And we often forget what we've taken away from these kids by giving them more. So we've given them more, but we've actually taken away. And the hustle that starving for dinner, finding something to eat, those things don't happen to these kids anymore. They
get on your bike and ride to the game.
Yeah.
These guys get driven to
planes. We little planes.
Yeah, this is true. And so we're always wondering, are we helping or hurting? And I think it's neither. It's about balance.
Right?
It's about trying to create a balance that allows you to just know when to stop. Now there are some parents who, as you know, my daughter's entering a pageant, the Miss Teen USA.
Okay. Wow.
It's
That's exciting.
It's getting
intense
close
too, right?
And it's intense. And so when my wife went to the to the first meeting that they had, I mean, she said these kids were caked up like porcelain dolls. They were, their mothers are, this is it, honey, this is it. This is it.
So much pressure on them at such a early age.
I know,
And it's not necessary.
No,
it really is not.
And it begs the question, like, does the kid want this?
Right.
Right.
Like, do they want this, or do they find their foot in something?
Yeah.
That they're kind of, okay, I'll do this, and then everybody around me says this is a great thing, and so I'll continue to do this. So is this? You have to ask the question: is this what they really want? And I mean, how many times do we see parents? I mean, you guys have been around, like other parents and of athletes and stuff like that. How many times does it seem like the parent just wants this more than the kid wants it?
Oh,
how many times, Chad, we've seen parents get thrown out of the gym?
Oh yeah,
right. I can imagine.
What
Just
No,
this has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Your time is over. Your shot is gone.
They live vicariously through them.
Absolutely.
And that's a bad thing in today's, because everyone's look. I remember coaching. I was at Claire's, and a kid was. I had asked the kid to pull the shade down, but in order to pull the shade down, he had to step on the chair and kind of like reach up there. But he's lighter than me. The chair, time I was a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And the mother says, that's my money. If he falls,
oh my God,
you're not gonna pay his college and blah blah blah. And the kid was like 7.
Wow.
And she just I just did what you did.
Yeah.
I just looked and shook my head, and I was like, you know what? For you to pawn your kid and try to make for something, it's all good to make sure that he has a career.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? Listen, as with all the LaVar Ball,
he's on minute 14 now.
Minute?
like you get 15 minutes of fame.
Oh, he's a minute
You
14.
get your 15 minutes. He's on like what 13, 14. He's got to be on like 13 or 14.
Yeah, I think he'll use it up and then using somebody else's.
He's on somebody else's minutes, right?
Listen, I felt the same way, and I don't like the rhetoric. I don't like more than what the media also does too to him, and kind of cattle prods him a little bit and pokes him, and then he.
Well, you got a live one,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
You got a live one,
right?
So you can say, man, your son really ain't doing that good, over there.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Lamar?
Yeah, well, build him up to tear him down, man.
Yeah, but you know what? I heard. I saw him on. Heard his Revolt Breakfast Club interview the day after the Knicks beat the Lakers beat. So they were there in the morning with the kids.
Right.
And I kind of had listen to the whole interview. I kind of had a little bit more respect for him because the one thing that he said that struck a nerve with me. He says, "I'm their father first."
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so he says, "What you guys see?" He says, am I supposed to say they're not going to be the best? Am I supposed to not say my kids are the best thing in the planet? And he says, what family do you know? What father do you know? And I'll tell you, that's a bum father that says my son ain't shit.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I looked at it the other way.
Right.
And I looked at it from him as a father. I looked at it and I said, damn, he's right, because my son's the best thing ever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had a guy, I used to tape all the games. You know, I was the father with the camera and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the guys told me, he says, hey, man, I had a copy of that tape. I want to see, how my son played. And I had to tell him, I said, unless he was standing next to my son, I'm taping my kid.
Right.
Like my video has my son's moves and stuff.
That's right.
So if he was standing next to him, you might catch him in the video.
Right.
And he's like, you didn't tape the whole game? I was like, whenever my son was in the game, I taped the game. That's what I bought. You go buy a camera, man.
Right.
Go tape your games. And half the time I'm taping the floor because I sucked at it.
Yeah.
My wife was the best.
It's very hard to do that.
Yeah, because you get excited watching the game.
Yeah, from that same ilk, I feel what you're saying. I kind of took that approach on some of the things he does as well.
Yeah.
And, in society, we're conformist.
Yeah.
And when you're non-conformist, you create a disturbance and people are not readily accepting.
Yeah, a riff. You have a riff.
But that sells as well. So they're going to, the Williams sisters, I mean, he kind of like molded their careers as well, but not as I'm gonna say, I don't know the term, but a little bit more in your face type approach.
Wait, are you saying he was involved with them?
The Williams sisters?
Yes.
The Williams sisters.
No, their father.
Okay.
Richard Williams.
Richard Williams.
Oh, is that right?
People were kind of like they weren't ready to accept him as well.
Yeah.
Anxiety is once you
make Joe Jackson either.
It's angry black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So this guy's being aggressive with his kids, and you can agree or disagree, but some of the things I think he can kind of pull back a little bit because you're putting too much pressure on the kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he knows them. I guess he figures they can handle it. And we'll see.
Well, he definitely put targets on their backs. He definitely put and I struggle with why this kid would go out and steal some stuff overseas or whatever else.
They're being kids, they're being stupid.
Yeah, but because you have the spotlight on you, it doesn't make you exempt.
Think about it. These 6'8" kids walking there. What are you going to get away with?
Right.
Exactly.
They should be smacked in the head for stupidity. You don't throw them on the bus either and kill them either.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because what purpose does that serve in society?
Sure.
Right.
You still have to be. I think they did the right thing as far as you have the start of the year.
Yeah.
People call up the take away the scholarships. So what happens then?
Right.
They go out and come on.
Yeah.
You can't just go completely carte blanche and just bury them. They're kids. They're still kids.
They're still kids.
Right.
And I think people don't have an issue with throwing stones to execute someone if they get to walk away with anonymously.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you was to put somebody on the plate and say, I, James Jackson Jr., this and that, agree, and I want to assassinate this kid for everyone would look at him like you're an animal.
Yeah.
Like, this is what the same thing the animal rights activists and stuff did.
Yeah.
They shamed people publicly. They put their names up. Oh, Miss Jones of so-and-so bought 30 furs from so-and-so. And all of a sudden it was like, how dare you?
You want to attach an identity to it.
So when it becomes, when you lose and it goes back to, 180 to what we talked about with the cryptocurrency, that's the fear.
Right.
The fear of being put on front page for all your transgressions, for all your little bit of innuendos and whatever else. Facebook and all this other stuff, you can kind of cosmic hide. You can say what you want, but tuck away. Yeah. You can disappear for 24 hours, and you feel like you've really, and you can take shots at the world and what they call them, subliminals, right?
Subliminals.
Some people read these subliminals way too much, and they're just like, oh, if you can't walk straight, walk crooked. And people go, what the fuck are you trying to say? Are you trying to say, because I got a limp leg that I can't do that? You know, it's like, wait a minute. This is just some, and I just made that up. I wasn't, I wasn't saying that was a real term, but people have gotten to the point where everyone thinks it's about them.
Right.
This is the fortune cookie mentality. Every fortune cookie is, if you read it, it's for you.
Yeah, it's
perfect.
Right.
It's perfect.
I still think that. I look at the fortune cookie. This has got to be my.
That's right.
This is mine.
But I take the one I like.
Exactly.
I hope I'm
you get it. You read that one. This was mine.
Yeah. But it speaks to conscious belief, like having a belief in something.
Yes,
you read it and you go, you know what, this is me today, and you actually manifest it.
Yeah.
By going out and you go do something that thing made you do.
Show you how strong and powerful the mind is.
Well, that's the will, right?
You know?
The free will. The free mind allows you to think in infinity and just kind of take it and go, okay, I could run with this today.
Like, what kind of day would you have if you had the same enthusiasm for Monday as you did for the weekend?
A dull fucking week.
Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah. What would you? I mean, if because every Friday, say, oh yeah, just waiting for my weekend. Ooh, what if you did that Sunday night? I can't wait. Monday morning, I can't wait to get up and go to work and stuff like that. How would that mindset change the trajectory of what that Monday could be for you?
It's an interesting concept. I mean, I think that it would do a lot for people. It would, well, that's what the news does to people. If you watch programming, it does that to you. It makes you do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It builds up on Friday.
But taking a note from what John just said is that I saw Chris Rock on stage one day and speaking of being entrepreneurial and go for a career.
Yeah.
Don't go for the job. So. He says there's not enough hours in the day for what he wants to do. So, like he's talking about getting up for Monday morning, there are no days. Right. Every day is like full
go
of
get
energy.
Right. Go get a day. I can dig that.
The passion of what you're doing.
Yeah, I can dig that.
Yeah.
So if you can capture that, I remember my teacher telling me, go for something you love to do, and it's not a job.
Yeah.
So if the kids can capture something like that, then you're gonna excel no matter what. You'll again. All these kids are smart and bright, but if you can. Actually capture that passion, and that drive. Like you said, man, what would Monday and Tuesday be?
There would be no difference. There would be no difference because if every day was about further accentuating the thing that you enjoy doing, then it wouldn't make a difference if it was Monday or Friday. It would make a difference if it was Monday or Saturday. It wouldn't be if it was Tuesday or Sunday. It wouldn't be every day would be the same thing.
Well, you get that from a lot of guys that work the weekends that aren't fortunate to have weekends off.
Yeah,
and they go, fuck your Monday. Fuck you. Monday's my Friday. Whoopee. There's not a lot of enthusiasm about that. But some of those guys love it because they get to go. You get to go to the supermarket free. There's no one around. It's like the world is yours. What's that last man standard? When you're off like on a midweek. And you get to go do errands. That's a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah.
You go shopping on
nobody
Tuesday.
Here, 11 o'clock. Nobody's here.
Tuesday.
I can take my time going down these aisles.
Exactly.
I can choose this one or that one.
Although this time of the year, I don't think there's any time that
it doesn't exist. No,
it's this time of the year because I went in Walmart.
Oh, why would you do that?
Like at 10 o'clock in the morning, I thought they were giving away something free.
Gosh.
I mean, it's during the week. I'm like, what is going on here? This time of the year, it's just that everybody's shopping. You get that. This is retail heaven.
I have a front closet here that is like the cartoon that when you open the door, everything falls out. And it's like,
I stuff everything back in.
We gotta kind of go through that closet and just find some stuff that we've not. We're damn near hoarding. I mean, get close to hoarding, man.
Well, you have intrinsic value, man.
Yeah, so some of the things you just go and look and just go, wow, this is kind of. And that's why I like yard sales and stuff. Like I got that tripod from a guy on the block. He was like, I have no idea what to use this for anymore. It was when the kids, he bought it for his $1. Give me
There you
a
go.
dollar. So there is repurposing thing, and that's kind of what Brooklyn is. Brooklyn's like a total repurposed town. Everything in Brooklyn is like reused and redone over and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's very interesting. So, man, how about those Knicks? Huh? They pulled some shenanigans last night.
They won last night?
Yeah.
They won last night.
Okay.
I was downstairs
no
screaming.
KP. Huh?
I was downstairs screaming at the TV, especially when they got the technical
Yeah.
in the fourth quarter. Forget about it.
Hey, listen, no KP.
No Hardaway.
No Hardaway.
4 in a row.
But the other guys didn't have
Who's KP?
Stephen
Oh,
Adams.
Porzingis didn't play?
The unicorn.
Let's stop.
Stop that. No.
We are stopping the
We are.
unicorn. Two Bros podcast.
Somebody,
a fairy said it. Whatever.
some other player said he's like a unicorn. I can't remember who it was.
Kevin Durant.
Was it Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant.
Okay, all right.
Okay, Kevin Durant is the unicorn from now on. Then
he should use a brush. He should use a brush. This guy has the beeziest hair that I have ever seen.
Say, come on, brother, you're making the money now.
A wire brush. He needs now a wire brush that you scrape battery acid off.
Yeah.
Or just go bald, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, or let it grow out so that at least it'll, won't give that. He got the correct peas. Like when you say peas, he got peas, man.
Got a kitchen and everything.
Like
great player,
like Martin
BDB.
BDB.
Yeah.
BDB.
Got those BDBs. Yeah, man.
But the Knicks won last night, man. Without those two star players, man. Clyde and Breen was saying there are 8 teams above 500 in the East, and there are like 6 or 5 in the West above 500.
Right.
So it's either saturation of talent or mediocrity or excelled. I'm not sure.
Well,
how
didn't
to
they
say
say this All-Star? I mean, or this year, isn't something changed now with the way the rankings are going to go, where it's just all teams? And there's no division
for the All-Star game.
Yeah,
yes,
there's not going to be.
Yes,
it's not going to be East versus West. It's
right.
going to be just teams. They're going to
choose
fantasy.
teams.
They're going to be like fantasy teams.
So you choose sides, so to speak.
Yes,
it's what they did. They're doing that in football in the Pro Bowl.
But I think that's great.
Yeah, there's no AFC versus NFC.
They did change.
Yeah,
for sure.
But because it's gotten stale. I mean, it's been the same rhetoric over and over. And I like that concept where you just you could build a real super team, what I'm saying, build a team. But then if it's like LeBron, all the good guys, all the good guys on one team against all the B team, that sucks. That's not
the
fun.
NBA kind of does their All-Star. They treat their All-Star game the way I think you should treat an All-Star game, which is like, this is an exhibition and this is a showcase of the talented guys you have in this league. Yeah. This is not about who's better than who. Right. This is not about how you can win, and not even how you can win this game.
Right.
This is a showcase. This is this is as close to a video game as we can get.
Pretty much.
So you should choose sides. So then if this person chooses LeBron, okay, well this person chooses this other guy, and this person chooses Kevin Durant, then this team is going to have this other guy. So let's try to make this as much odds as says shoot. Doggy diamond, step right out.
So who's going to be the last man taken? They were like, I don't want to be the last man.
That's gotta suck.
You gotta be in the pool, man.
Right?
That's
we
gotta
played
suck.
ball in the park, man. They even in the park, you were the last guy taken.
I was never. Right. We did that when we I was never a basketball player.
Yeah,
right.
I was always a football player.
Okay.
So for the longest time, I was one of the last dudes taken.
What position you like to play when you play football?
I love playing defense. I love hitting.
You love to hit people.
I love like contact. Let's not make this be about being pretty.
So what do you think about now with all these targeting and talking about next year? Talking about targeting where you throw a guy out.
Well, I think you have to, because what we know now is
the CT
right is vital. The head injuries that are happening now.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about somebody's whole entire life being affected.
Sure.
Never mind there. And football itself is such a violent game anyway.
Right.
I think in some way you have to measure it, but you have to be willing to do those things. I like what they do in college. Like in college, they say if you have a personal foul, and if they say that you targeted or you left your feet to make a tackle or you went up to a guy's head, you're gone.
Right.
That's
right.
it. You're done. So you don't get.
What do you mean
like
gone?
you're out of the game.
Oh,
out of the game. So if it happens first play of the game,
Yeah.
and you like hit somebody in the head or whatever,
Right.
and they'll look at it on the tape and say, "Yep, you did.
Yeah,
you got to go."
You're a fan. Yeah,
Right.
You're sitting in the back.
I think that can change things because in the NFL, what they do now, they give you a penalty, and I think like if you do it again, then you get suspended or something like that.
Okay.
A little slap on the wrist.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, but if you make it, but at the same time, you still want to see. You still want to see
You see
hard
the action.
hits.
Yeah,
you
you
still
wanna
want
see
to
that
see.
gladiator.
You still want it to be
Again,
physical.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like-
And there's some guys who just not, because they learned a certain way, they're not going to be able to change. They've been playing. They've been in the game 12 years. So
Yeah.
if a receiver wants to jump up in front of him, well, that person's career might be over.
Yeah, he did a stupid move. It was a bad choice.
Right.
But I like I think it was a kid who was granted an award at his school saying that to bring football teams back to the less protection.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, putting leather helmets and hats on and pads so that they don't think that they're invincible.
Right.
Because you put that tank on you and I'm going to ram this fucking thing in your ass.
Yeah.
But if I had less pad on and you did too, we'd play a little bit more physical.
Right.
We'd wrestle a little bit, but we wouldn't head on. We
Right.
wouldn't do all that.
You'd get your head would be out of the way.
Your head would be out of the way. Yourself at risk.
I mean, if I was in a tank, I would roll over some shit.
Yeah.
If I was in a bicycle, I'd be careful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think I like that approach to. I don't think it'll ever happen because you need a whole, I guess, conformity from the league and stuff like that.
Right.
But and I think some guys are just too jacked up, like you would need a whole wave. You would need that to happen from the little tykes all the way up. Right?
Hockey has actually a tremendous amount of statistics regarding that when they put the face guard on. When they first put the face guard on, the guys we just have the helmet, but no one has the face guard on it. But now they have the helmet and they have the visor on it, and they said the amount of head injuries and concussions went up extraordinarily.
Right.
Wow.
Once you got the face guard up, because there was this. Now there was this sort of protection, so now you said, you would go out a little bit more.
Wow.
When before you were a little bit cautious. You got your head, got your head out of the way. You played physical, but your head was out of the way. Really you get a couple bumps and bruises. You might lose a tooth here and there or something like that. But you didn't. But your head was okay. You didn't get those extended.
You would think they would have the opposite effect. It's gone. Wow, that's really
but again, it goes to like we just said. It's the more protected I think I am, I'm gonna go. I can bust through a brick wall, man. But if I got less on, man, I ain't doing it.
Listen, it all happens. It also happens in baseball too. When baseball started, when
going at people.
When if you got a couple of hits and then the next one somebody brushed that ball like right up here, you backed up.
Yeah.
Well, now that you're not allowed to do that anymore, you get a warning. So now you get guys who are crowding the plate a little bit. And
Ty Cobb used to sharpen his spikes.
Yeah.
So Ty Cobb.
Sharpen an evil player.
So he slide.
When he would slide, he would put his spikes up. And so if you're the second baseman going there, you got spikes in the arm and stuff.
That's evil.
Ty Cobb was a great player, but he was an evil dude. Evil, straight up racist player. He was just a horrible human being. I think nobody showed up to his funeral when he passed away.
Nobody liked him.
It was like 2 people showed up to his funeral.
You got to be one fucking nasty motherfucker.
Exactly.
For no one to show up at your funeral.
Nobody showed up
to win, man.
Wow. That's horrible. But like basketball's the same thing. When we train and you teach kids to clear out, and you tell a guy once that guy gets hit with that elbow and he feels he won't go in there anymore. He won't go anymore. So there is something about the human,
the Charles Oakleys.
I heard an interesting concept, as far as the injuries and stuff like that. These athletes are like super athletes now with all the supplements and the training.
Yeah.
I mean, you got these guys 280, 291, like a 4.40.
It's
insane.
And so much more speed and power.
Yeah.
So it's bound to, like in basketball, everybody's like cut and ripped. Yeah. We used to smoke a cigarette and drink some beer. One of the guys said, one of the pros said, one of the guys that smoked a cigarette, I think Bob Lanier, when smoking a cigarette at halftime.
Yeah.
So they used to try running them up and down the court.
Yeah.
Now everybody's training on a high level and taking it to the next level, steroids and stuff like that. So now everybody's so cutting.
We that one highlight game that Ron had at Malloy when he shot hit the buzzer
one
beater.
Yeah.
Got interviewed by.
But Malloy has this guy. I remember that highlight.
Dude, yeah.
So, coach, I won't say his name. I won't even say the school came over and talked to me and my wife. I was like, I want him. I want him. I want him. We were happy just to hear a coach. He was the bench. He was a strong bench guy. He was loyal. Yeah. And the guy says, we'll bring him over to our school. We'll give him some pizza and some pussy. And, and we was like, what school was this? I won't say it on the podcast. We just looked at each other. Well, we looked at each other like this, like,
yeah. You know what? That's what's happening. Louisville. That's what,
that's
what's happening. You get more than pizza.
It's a little bit more than that. But I was just mortified at this guy.
In front of you and the wife.
Yeah.
In front of you and the wife. So imagine what happens in the closed door.
I'm saying he said it right to us, like as if that was that's your pitch. This is your pitch to come to your school? I don't think your fucking university wants to hear about this shit. No. It was a D3 school, don't get me wrong, but
that's a bad look.
But man, he was just so excited about it, and he was like, well, we're beefing him up, fattening him up, get him some pizza and some pussy, and I was like,
gosh.
Wait, that's not the right pitch to give the.
Yeah,
we are his parents.
We are his parents, right?
Friends, you know what I'm saying?
Is your school okay? Is it? Can he get an education?
Yeah.
Can he get a?
And it is a local school. It's here. It's local. It's not too far here. Some pitch. But yeah, man, these guys are super. I like that documentary you introduced me to, Icarus, which Icarus on.
About the Russian
doping.
Yeah, have you seen
doping?
No, I haven't.
It's a great documentary.
Aren't they out in the Olympics? They're not going.
Yeah, so even now, and so if you watch this now, all of what's happening to them makes a little bit more sense to me. It does. Because now I saw how Putin was like, we got to win this fucking race.
This guy was a cyclist, and he liked cycling. He was a big Lance Armstrong fan and stuff like that, and kind of got disheartened when found out that Lance Armstrong was doping the whole time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And sort of came to the realization that anybody who's doing cycling is doing some form of doping, but they're not necessarily getting caught. So what he tried to do is he's trying to say, okay, well, what is the protocol for doing this, for actually using performance enhancers?
Yeah, like, how do you do it?
But not getting caught.
Right.
Okay.
And so he found this guy who found this guy who found this guy. It led him to some dude in Russia, right, who gave him his protocol of what he was doing. It turns out that this guy was one of the key people in doping for the entire Soviet Olympic team.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, and Mikhail or something.
Yeah,
Nikolai,
something like that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
To the point where they had traces of actually Putin and the Kremlin basically giving directives as to doping the athletes and hiding it so that we'd win more medals and stuff.
They went as far as having this encrypted specimen thing that you collect the samples with, the blood samples with, that had this like super click that only could be opened in Sweden.
Right,
the people who made it. This fucking little capsule, like when you go take a drug test.
Oh my God.
Once it clicked, it closed. It was like a zip tie click. This thing is, and the documentary is very well put together. And I looked at this thing and I said, why isn't this like, this should be like scandal unfolded, busted, front page. And it's just, it's all the shit with Russia is like that. All of their little, people just don't understand, what they're doing and why they do it, And you ask Russians, they go, yeah, because we're fucked up, Yeah. The Russian girl at the bar, she was like, it's fucked up in my country. It's just like the people don't even know why their government does certain things. Yeah. And all they want to do is just, they like our style. They like, I don't know, movies and watching TV. And
I don't know anyone that wants to go to vacation in Russia.
Exactly. Like who do you want to know that wants to say, man, I'm sick of this. I'm going to go to Russia.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sick of this way of life.
I heard Croatia's nice, though. Croatia's...
You've been?
Yeah. No, I haven't been Croatia. But I've heard that they have some beautiful forests, like these waterfalls and crazy... And they have these waterfalls that, when it turns winter, they freeze. Like the waterfall...
The waterfall itself freezes?
Yeah. And it's like super spectacular. Like one of those...
Yeah.
But not fun to be there. I've been to Iceland.
Iceland?
Yeah. Been to Iceland. But, like that, when we talked about, like, in war and all this other stuff, like, well, the purpose of Iraq and Afghanistan, like, what are you building, resort there. Like, I can't wait to go to vacation in Afghanistan.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna have such a good time there. I'm so glad the U.S. is cleaning it up for us and building schools and these people, educating these people in the world of hospitality.
Yeah,
It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Not in a million years. Afghanistan.
So we're not going backwards, as you said. We're not going to go back to the square wheel.
No.
We're just going to keep evolving.
Yeah, keep moving forward because it's a lot easier to live life. These days you don't go back to have to go to grow everything yourself.
Yeah.
And, now you can order online.
Sure.
We can get a little bit lazy because everything is at your doorstep all the time.
That's what we talked about, and that's the biggest danger of that trade-off. So that's a very important topic because I don't think we as a society are doing enough to exercise mentally how this is affecting us. So the schools don't teach this stuff. The schools don't teach this order. Now, this is clearly the Jetson age. You can press a button and order. It came.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You saw it just happen today.
Right.
I mean, the time that the lapse is a little bit, it's not instant, but damn near close.
Close.
So
it's gonna get closer.
For schools to still teach traditional civilization, like encyclopedia shit, that like what you said earlier, it was old when it was printed.
Yeah, exactly.
It was old when it was printed.
Right.
So it evolved so much faster in between. So where does education come in? Is there actually Toronto would be the best because there's an educational curriculum that's being forced by the city. So what are these teachers teaching kids? And you have grandsons, and what are they teaching them now that to prepare them for the future? I don't think that's happening.
No,
I think it's status quo.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can use this model and say that you are preparing somebody for the future.
Right.
Because the model is a factory model. It's
churn and burn.
Right. It's churn and burn. Get you ready. When the bell sounds, you do something.
Time to go to work.
You're supposed to be at a certain time. You're supposed to sit in this organized fashion here, and and
have become robots.
Yeah, and so it's to make you, I guess, to simulate the notion that hey, you're going to work in a factory.
Yeah, you're subservient. You're going to obey. You're going to the nation.
Right.
You're going to pledge allegiance.
Right.
You're going to like you said, the bell rings, the whistle goes off. You eat at a certain time. I tell you when to eat. I tell you when you can go home. Right. And I need you to, while you're home, I need you to work on this too to keep reminding you that you got to be back here tomorrow.
Right.
And I can remember having such anxiety, I didn't do my homework. Like I had a fear. I know. It felt like fucking quicksand was happening. Like I was gonna.
You dread it.
Yes,
right?
I was dread. That's the word, dread. And my daughter tells me, we don't have homework. Like we don't.
I know. I say my grandson, when's your homework?
She has a fucking iPad, and she does it on the iPad, and just they have they check boxes.
Yeah,
they just have to check the boxes, and it's like if you get a green light, you've cleared. And that's. Futuristic. I think society is not preparing us, and they're allowing. Well, I just figured this out myself. It's almost as if the street taught us. I was taught by a street how to maneuver around certain things.
Yeah.
So I guess the free world of the internet and everything else. That's its teacher. Like these kids are learning from what's
peers.
available.
Peers. Yeah.
But they're dressing that way. They're coming up with these concepts that they're not original. No. There are very little original people out there. There are very little creators of content. You know, like someone posted on our page, "Oh, I love the content. Keep creating. It's stimulating."
Right.
But that's we're just doing it because we chose to do it. Right. Everyone can do it. Everyone can contribute and just throw things in. I posted this one time. I said, I made a little meme or drawing myself. I says, create something yourself, then share it. Don't just forward people's stuff. Stop forwarding other people's
ideas.
I know. Yeah, I like this phrase, and I'm going to tell everybody else. Well, why don't you create something and then push it out there and see what kind of response you get? And so that's what, when people say, "Oh, you're doing it for likes, you're doing it for this." Yes, you are, because you're in that world and you want to get 100 likes, 50 likes. You want
Mhm.
views or whatever. So I don't give a shit. I get 1 like and it'll be
Right.
fine. I get no likes. I know I did it. I
Right.
created.
But even like what we're doing now, we're interacting. Eye
Yes.
contact. There's a point of inflection, how you speak, and
Absolutely.
stuff like that.
Right.
It is
Absolutely.
all lost because you go now and everybody's. My son texts me on it. I'm like, dude, I'm
Right.
right downstairs.
Yeah.
So he yelled downstairs,
Yeah.
take out the garbage.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I find myself doing it sometime as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just force myself to put the phone down.
Sure.
Because we go to dinner where I said, put the phone down.
Yeah.
I remember the time out in Vegas when they were playing,
Mhm.
and Mac was one of the
Map.
he
Yeah.
was one of the coaches, and the guys had just lost a tough game, and they're on the phone. Nobody,
Yeah.
there's no,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know if they lost or won.
Right.
Right.
He took all the phones, dude. React,
Yeah.
get your emotions flowing. You
Yeah.
know, so
you'd be mad about the next game
so
and
at
we play
least,
it this way.
You got to get the
Yeah.
juices flowing, man.
There's a. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, how many times do you like go to like you go to dinner with friends, and people are on their phone,
Yeah.
The whole time.
and so you're that interaction you have with somebody who is not there
Yeah.
is more pressing
Yeah.
than the 4 or 5 people who are right across from you.
John, I was at, this is a vivid memory. I was at Chili's,
Mhm.
and the family came in, sat down in one of those high chairs,
Mhm.
and it's the father, son, the daughter, the wife, and the wife has the kid, and all 4 of them are on the phone.
Yeah.
The baby's
It's
hanging on
horrible.
the side. I'm like, what is
horrible.
going
Right.
on here?
So why are you even here?
Yeah.
You can do this. You can sit in the car and do that. You can sit. You can go about your own separate way and do that.
Because lost sometimes people I've known. That's why if I want to talk a sensitive subject to someone, I would definitely call them, because if you take you can inflect
Sure.
Mhm.
so that
How important something is,
or when you say one thing one way, it means something entirely different the
Absolutely.
way you,
Right.
you inflect it to
Well, the
them.
grammar changes
I mean,
everything.
exactly.
I mean,
So
body language changes everything.
people getting up fights and arguments or something. I didn't mean it like that.
Right.
So that that interaction part is what's lost. These kids sit there, girls. My one of the guys I saw, his girlfriend, they sit there and watch them play video games all day.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I would never go out with you.
Yeah.
That's my biggest pet peeve is when I go out, when I go to a bar or something like that, or maybe go somewhere
Sure.
after work. You see a group of guys and a group of girls.
Yeah.
Everybody's on their damn phone,
Yeah, they'll have
and
that,
there might
they'll
be
have
this
that glow in
right.
their face.
There's this glow in their face, and they're looking at all this other stuff. Say, wow, you ever think about picking your head up and
Sure.
saying hi or saying hello or however you? Yes, you're gonna get rejected, but that's part of it. And I think that's another thing. I think we just don't want the rejection.
Right.
We
Yeah.
want the automatic.
Yeah.
We want sort of the automatic connection, the automatic friendship.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
when you respond to me, oh, you liked my thing, so that means I feel
It's-
better about myself.
Instant gratification.
Right.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, there is a something that is being extracted from our livelihood by doing this. And
Right.
this type of behavior mentality is. Silence picked up.
Well, I follow the guy from Tesla. That's my
Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Mr. Elon Musk.
He's my
He's-
I follow him.
He's
And-
guru and a maniac all at the same
He
time.
said that they got the new truck that I think Walmart's going to participate in this program that's self-driven.
Yeah.
And electric, so it won't burn as much gas, 600 miles or whatever
Yeah.
it is. And he said something interesting, because Trump is talking about all these jobs. He said a lot of jobs are just going to disappear.
Yeah.
There's going to be the point where government would have to subsidize, because there won't be a need for.
Well,
Everything's
we
gonna be
talked about it on another show. We
So
said
what,
12% is driving, people's occupation.
No, even more than that.
More than that?
More than that. I think it's close to like 45.
Okay, that's a
45% of people
huge-
list driver as their
That's
their
a
occupation.
huge.
Right.
So he's literally gonna just take all the. Now look at what Uber has done for the independent worker, giving them a job. He
Right.
said, "Hey, I got a car, I can drive, I got a clean license, I can go out there and make myself a living, make a few bucks. Yeah, I got to deal with some nagging people. I got to deal with that comes with it, risk reward.
Right.
But you taking that away. These are things that's a technology that has advanced. Human beings, human socialization. You got to get somewhere. You got to go somewhere.
Right.
And to want to take that away for what? I don't. While I think he's, like you said, an evil genius, and and at the same time, I think he's very bad guy because he's not trying to do things to make us better. He's trying to make us obsolete. And he that type of mentality would be, I don't care, because that mentality, his system works with less population.
Right.
His system works very well with only 100,000 people on the planet, not 100 million.
Okay, but then do we? Then reject the possibility of what that is for that fear, or do we now have a responsibility to say, okay, well, how do we engage in this to a point in which now they're not going to be 40% of people out of work?
Well,
we talk about it. That's what we do. Yeah, right. That's what it is.
Well, the theory is, like, we had the Industrial Revolution. All those jobs went away. And what it did was transformative, brought new type of jobs.
A different job. Sure. Right.
So subsequently, this is what's supposed to happen. But there's a growing pains in between that.
The growing pain is human population has quadrupled. And there's every household. It's not the mother, father, daughter, and 4 family houses. There's 18 people in a house. There's 12. There's families are super big. And you go to these growth hormones and all this other shit that they're feeding the same way. How could you not have it?
Right.
So there is some chemical imbalance here that when you take away this human interaction, which I'm so afraid of. I mean, this Sonia robot chick is just she's got citizenship in Saudi Arabia now.
Right.
How do you make a robot a citizen, man? I mean, come on.
They can do anything they want, man.
Listen, I'm baffled by it. I'm amazed because I like the technology, right? I like technology. I like things that are just smart.
Right.
But I'm afraid that the average person today is not capable of doing. And I talked about this before, where why MySpace was eliminated and basically gone nowhere. You know why?
They were the first kids on the block.
Because it taught people how to write code. Kids were learning how to write HTML code.
Right.
And you could go in, change your page, make it black, make snowfall come down, make all this other stuff.
Right.
And when the advertisers came in, I can go in the code and take the advertisers out.
Right.
That's why MySpace went away.
Really? Wow.
These guys said, "Wait a minute, you can't guarantee me my ads will pop up." No, fuck you. MySpace, my page, I can take the ads off of it because it's in the code.
Wow.
It was open source code. Wow. So once you did that, every 12-year-old kid said, "No, I don't want pop-ups. Delete." They learned which was what all that jargon meant, and when you click on the right click and you say the page source, that's the fucking code. Wow. And once you learn how to do that, these kids, so they was like, Facebook came in and was like, nope, kids have no control over this. Right. They have control over the box.
Right.
That's it. You can post, you can pitch, you can do all this other stuff.
Well,
now
that feeds into segue to net neutrality now.
Net neutrality was just overturned.
Was it?
Yes. Net neutrality was overturned.
Doesn't exist anymore.
It does not exist anymore. So
we'll see.
We'll not change it.
It cost more, or is it going to be able? You won't be able to get the service that you want, or they're going to be able to program what you can see.
I do not think. Well, okay. I think all of that is possible.
Right.
I don't think that we are going to see any significant change into how we access the internet or take advantage of what is available.
Right.
I don't think there is. Well, what I think it does do, though, I think it does have the potential to have certain entities sort of make a conglomerate out of data.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's the potential harm it could do.
Metadata.
Right. That you can flood the internet with a certain amount of data to the point where now this smaller entity now cannot travel at the same speed that somebody else can.
Well, that's the thing. All these smaller companies, what happens?
How
do you get your product out? You got to pay the big guys to.
There's gonna come a time where I constantly have a doomsday fear. One of these apocalyptic moments every time.
I do too sometimes.
But because you have to think that it's gonna the balloon pops and then but there's more balloons. You just got to blow up another one.
Well, my fear is that the educational part is not catching up. With, you go in the inner cities, the schools aren't what they should be.
No.
And you see these kids not even going to school. These kids didn't even graduate high school. I mean, what happens? That's what my fear, like I said, the doomsday mentality. I mean, what's going to, less jobs already at the beginning. You're going to be an entrepreneur at 8 years old?
Yeah, but guess what? They are not teaching in school how to program robotics.
No.
They're not teaching, automation and system program diagnostics for, they're still talking about diesel mechanics and that's still an option. That's like an elective. Like if you're lucky to get automotive, remember they had, you could go fix a car in a classroom or cooking in classes. Even simple stuff like that. I had a cooking teacher, Mr. Shaw. This guy was fantastic. Brown sugar and maple, eating cookies and shit. But my daughter had a class that had it was very interesting, which I've never heard of, and I'm trying to remember what it was, but it taught kids it was house economics or whatever else, and it talked about laundry, doing dishes, maintaining your house, cleaning, what cleaning agents and I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, that home economics.
Yes, that's what I mean, and that's like a thing that doesn't exist anymore. So this is where you get these messy households and all this other crazy stuff, and
But
people
they pay somebody to come in and do it for them.
Yeah, Molly made
The robot.
Irona. She would always come and clean up, man. But
forget it.
But man, that human interaction is something that is always. But every time there's something that takes away human interaction, I get a little disappointed. I mean, I just get. Yeah. We talked about Blockbuster. We talked about.
Yeah.
Those.
It's all leading towards Skynet.
Yeah.
Skynet and the Terminator.
I just started out there earlier.
Miles Bennett Dyson.
Yeah.
Skynet says, hey, wait a minute. You're the thing that's kind of in the way of me.
Yeah.
Of me,
the Age of Ultron,
being as great as I can be. Why don't we just destroy you, and then everything will be fine?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said about that, and people just need to kind of. That's something I think there's just not enough human reaction or response to it. Or maybe there is, and we just not, because of social media, we only see that outlet seems to be the only outlet people have.
Right.
Whether you want to protest, whether you want to shake your fist at something, people just go on and and they go back to work on Monday.
Right. Still participate.
Hey Jim, I sent a post about civil injustice.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I think I saw that post.
I got 50 likes on it.
I'm one of the likes.
So it's working.
That's right. I've only got 40 minutes for lunch, though. I got to see you tomorrow.
Back to you, Chuck.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break real quick.
Okay.
Hit the 1 hour mark, and we're going to come back with some more notes.
Yeah. Beverage break, if you're following us, you probably see a difference in the receptacles of that we're using.
We went from soft drinks to hard drinks. Why do they call them soft drinks?
I have no idea.
Is that because they're hard drinks?
Probably so. Let's toast up. Cheers, Ernie. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Cheers.
Thank you for doing this.
No, thank you for having me here.
No, thanks for coming and joining the convo, man. It's all about, adding to the puzzle of life, as we call. Often, there's a lot of people chime in on the podcast and comments and stuff, and they say, how do you do it? What do you do it? And I said, the first part is doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Success is like we sat down at the bar and we said, hey, this would be a great idea. Mm-hmm. Let's just do it and let's put our first foot forward.
Yeah, we said, hey, I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and he said, oh, I'm thinking about doing this, and I have some equipment. I'm like, oh, all right, well, let's.
The hardest part is getting started. It's like you're going to work out.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like doing it. But once you get there and do it. You gotta get started somewhere.
You gotta start, and you gotta be willing to. You gotta be, and you gotta be willing to suck at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta realize that there's a process by which you go and do things.
Don't be afraid to
Don't be afraid to fail.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so many people that won't do things because they're just so afraid of the ramifications of nothing. And I'm like, okay, you're kind of at the same spot you were by doing nothing.
Right? Exactly.
You're at the same exact place.
Right.
Do nothing.
Like we talked about from economics again, investment and stuff like that. So I still want to do that presentation with the guys.
We're going to do that.
Put it together.
Yeah.
I talked to one of our colleagues Friday about it. I said, well, you're not going to put in a dollar and make $1 zillion. It doesn't work like that. You got to start somewhere.
Right.
So open a small account.
Yeah.
And I told him, you might be the next best Warren Buffett because sometimes it's just about observation. What are these kids doing?
So, Ern,
What are they buying?
let's dial
Stuff
back a
like
little
that.
bit. Let's dial back a little bit and talk about that because, you know, financial advice and investment is something that everyone does not know how to start, and it's a little bit more complicated than starting a podcast and putting a camera on and just talking.
Right.
And a lot of people are so afraid because the advice comes from people they don't recognize.
Right.
So with this platform, we have people, and why we wanted to do that event, which we talked about putting a level 1 event together, talking not only about partying, we can always corral about partying and drinking, but why not party and corral about finance?
Right.
And so the idea was to have someone who you respect say, like, I'll do a recipe or something. People go, well, I know you're real, and if that worked for you, then I'm going to try it.
Right.
And some people are like that. They need to attach themselves to the ideology of someone that truthfully, that it's not a scam.
Not a
you know
scam,
what I'm saying?
right? They trust the source.
So to go back into what should someone do if they wanted to create a financial profile other than just their regular job, etc. And what's the first step? If you would just Joe Blow out the box and said, "Hey, Ern, I want to start investing something. I don't got a lot.
Right.
I got a few extra bucks here that I'm willing to take something simple, but not a huge risk."
Okay, I want to put a disclaimer. I'm not a qualified financial.
I agree.
Right?
This is
So,
friendship. Disclaimer.
Asterisk.
Right. This is what happens
This
because
is-
you're supposed to have all these licenses and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I can tell you what I would do.
Yeah, as a friend.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
this is as a friend. This is a conversation
I would
between
take
friends.
I would go far as just taking $100 and go to. Again, it's not a plug for a particular company. I use TD Ameritrade myself,
Right.
and just open an account, and you don't have to buy some big stocks. You can take 4 or 5 different stocks. Some maybe cost $4 or $5
Okay.
per share.
Yeah.
Just to get yourself acclimated as the keystrokes and to see what's happening.
To see what's
follow
happening.
some
Right.
stuff.
Okay.
My grandson loved Nike, so what I did was open up a little account.
Yep.
And put a little money in there, and we buy Nike, and you watch it.
Yeah.
It's just to get him to watch what's going on in the world.
Well, there's a kid today that is hugely popular on social media that happened. His parents did that because he was a big sneakerhead, and he's now a millionaire.
Well, back in the day, way back, a lot of these the guys had money.
Yeah.
They opened up those big AT&T accounts.
Yeah.
They opened up for the grandkids.
Yeah.
And they had money from just there, from that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to get involved in stuff like that, just start small. We gotta be willing to lose.
Okay, but $100 is not. I've spent $100 on a bottle of beer. I mean, a bottle of wine or something,
Right.
liquor, for a weekend for 18 hours of fucking debauchery or whatever.
Right.
So you're saying that the average person can go to, let's just say TD, no sponsors here, TD Ameritrade.
Yeah.
Is there a cost to open an account?
There's no cost to open an account, but there's a cost to do a trade.
Aha.
So I think it's either $5 to $6 per trade. It may be a little less or a little bit more.
Well, you got to read.
Yeah,
You have to
exactly.
read your.
But they all have. All these financial institutes have platforms for you to conduct your trade. I try to go to the cheapest one, and TD Ameritrade was it's not a plug.
Yep.
Was the cheapest one, and what I did was got a little bonus, a little extra money, and I said, I throw it in there.
Yeah.
And I'll diversify my portfolio for the startup. With a little bit of money that I have.
Sure.
And my other 401k, a professional is handling that. And buy a little bit of utilities, retail, or some transitory stuff like that. And again, I bought. My first started, I bought Yahoo, Cisco, Microsoft, and I forget what the other one was. Those 4 stocks I bought. And I remember when Yahoo was like $19.
Yeah, I remember.
$19. And I bought it only because I like the name.
Yeah.
Yahoo. I was like, Yahoo, I'll take it.
Right.
So I
They don't do commercials
I
anymore.
doubled my money.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? That's the rule of thumb. You double your money. Back then,
Right.
you take the money off the table.
Right. You
Take the money back.
borrow
Put
out,
your,
right.
Had I held that, to not look at it,
Right.
it's like the Bitcoin thing.
Well, Yahoo's at what
Exponential.
now?
It's what it has done, what these stocks do. The price of the stock got so expensive that it went from $20 to $1,000, right? I'm just throwing numbers out there.
Yeah.
So it splits. So now you get 2 shares for $500. So now there's somebody else, a little bit less money, or 4 shares for $250. If
It's kind of like sub-renting.
Yeah.
It's like
Subleasing or whatever.
Subleasing, right.
So you can be able to, more people can participate in the
market.
Yeah.
Now that helps, right? The more people involved in the market, does it make it more flux? Does it give it more ammunition?
It gives a little bit more stability, actually.
Mm-hmm.
What these companies do, what they do, what they call is the IPO, initial public offering.
Yeah.
Like that's what Facebook did.
Right.
So they see the potential to grow the company, but they need revenue.
Right.
They need capitalization.
Yeah, they need cash. Yeah.
So they have this IPO. The people flood and buy the stock. So now this company's cash rich.
Yeah.
So now they can go out and do R&D and develop their product. Their product. So if these kids see things that are going on, or you see things that are going on within the economy, maybe you want to go on Google, figure out if this company is publicly traded or not, or it's private, private investment.
Mm-hmm.
So just try and diversification is the key.
Yeah.
But
just saying, with as simple as or as minimal as $100 can put you in the game, so you can get your whistle wet.
Yep.
And know how. Now, I've seen people lose $100 at Resort World in 5 seconds.
Right.
So this is now something that you could take $100 and learn how this market works, and go, oh shit, I can learn from this and learn what I didn't do.
Yeah.
There's nothing to learn at a crank yanker, right? There's nothing. I pull it halfway and it gives me.
When you put that dollar, it's not actually a company that you're just speculating, right? But if you're buying a real company, buying Apple, or you're buying a Tesla, these are real companies that are actually producing products.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the growth potential. So instead of them have 10,000 Teslas, there's 100,000 Teslas, or 1 million Teslas coming out. So now you're going to reap the benefits because you got in on the ground floor.
Right.
So those dividends that are paying back to you. So in hindsight, what you want to do is just basically buy some small companies that you can get yourself acclimated into.
When it's cheap,
and start developing habits.
Yeah.
Start developing habits, like you said. Start small. Start with a couple things that's sound like you like, and a $4 or $5 here and there. But start developing the habits of and then now start tracking. Okay, well, how is this doing? And
you can do your own research, basically.
Right.
These guys, they have all these.
That's
They
so
hire all these.
available
They hire all these. There's a lot of tools on there,
Right.
which are very complicated. You got to understand. See, I'm I do charting and stuff like that, so things move like.
So you're watching trends.
Yeah,
you're watching trends.
Like that,
okay.
And there are all these tools that you have at your disposal to be able to make a sound guess as to what educated guess as to the movement of the market.
Yeah.
But it gets you involved in it, because that's where you're not going to. What are banks playing? Nothing. The interest rates is almost
right. You throw a CD in there. I mean, I had $10,000 in a CD. It gave me 10,005.
Yeah, exactly.
In like 3 years. And it's like woo.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know what I'm saying? You get an extra $5. You know.
So I'm not saying take second mortgage on your house and get involved, but discretionary capital that you can put into something, a little small fund, and see how it works. You may do better than the actual professional analysts in some areas, because they get it wrong too.
Yeah.
But you got, like we said,
got to be in it to win.
Just get started.
Do you think the overall, like the average person, their overall portfolio should be, you should have a couple bucks in stocks, a couple bucks in maybe something secure like either a
Bonds,
CD or an IRA or something like that, and a couple bucks in some actual cash that you can get a hold of, Lord forbid, if there's like an emergency or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's the rule of thumb. So you kind of develop your risk profile. So you put, everyone has a different risk appetite depending on their financial, their economic,
and where you are in life. You could just be your paycheck to paycheck.
But if you invest in something that's stable, the returns aren't going to be quite.
They're not going to be huge. They're going to be incremental. They're going to be small.
Incremental.
Right.
But if you invest in something that's risky, the more risk, the more reward.
The greater reward.
Right? But you got to be willing to say, hey.
You got to get rid of it. Be willing to say that's off the table.
If I lose it, I'm not mad about it.
Right.
And I think we as black people
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to trust one another and build our own network. To be able, because the worst thing that could happen is I say, John, let's buy this particular stock, and it collapses. I'm like, we're so bent against something going wrong, but things happen.
Right.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
it's not that I did it on purpose.
Right.
But
Exactly.
you got to be, you got to be able to be in the game.
Ernie lost my money.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the worst
Right.
thing that can happen.
Right.
And these guys do it all the time. But we are just getting to the point where we have some excess capital because we've gotten more educated.
Yeah.
I don't know. My parents didn't go to school.
Right.
So now we kind of understand
Sure.
the economic development, the
Right.
Puff Daddies of the world, the Jay-Z's of the world.
Yeah.
They take on ownership, not just working for someone. You know what I mean? When I first moved out here to, Long Island, I always thought that you had to work for someone you don't own.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. The
Own a house. I asked the guy, what time the heat comes up? He says, when you turn it on.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. I said, I must look like a total idiot because I'm so used to someone else doing it for me, and I pay him the rent.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I never thought about, when we grew up in Brooklyn, all those brownstones and stuff like that,
It's a good point.
nobody wanted to own. So my point being is, this will just put you in another economic development light. So start small and just see what's out there. You may have your own ideas.
Well, I mean, you listen. Owning something is always a plus, right?
Right.
Having ownership of something. Unfortunately, our culture. It depends on which. When you say we, today's culture of get it now and fuck tomorrow is a self-imploding culture. It really has.
Yeah.
It has a very temporary lifestyle. It's per day, which is the most horrible way to live.
Horrible way to live, right?
Bums live
sometimes per minute.
But I'm saying bums live per day.
Yeah,
like homeless people live per day.
Right. There's no economic plan.
Right. So if you associate your lifestyle with that, you can safely say that you're on a bum's path. I mean, and those guys, God bless them, if you're not built for that, to live up, down, here today, sandwich today, nothing tomorrow.
Right.
You may be in for a wild ride, if you don't plan properly. So, it's very helpful for people to have some sort of financial plan. Just other than saving and working your ass off. See, the mentality of and I fight with my wife about this a lot because we often talk about, the city mentality, like subservient workers at 30, you gotta work 30 fucking years. Yes. You gotta have the age, not the date, but to retire. And you get a nice watch. Right. You get a nice watch, but you get your pension and whatever else. And city workers often, that's their only goal. They're looking 30 years down the line, 30, 40 years. Right. Yeah. Like, that's hard to aspire. Yeah. That's hard to, like, especially if you join late. Like, if you got in at 19 and all of a sudden you're getting out and you're 40, but you can't retire till you're 60. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's fucking horrible. Yeah. Especially if it's a mundane, you drive a bus, you just, and shout, no discredit to any civil service or city employees.
It's vital.
It's vital to our civilization, and it provides a service for it. But let's side mark that over to what we left the segue at: technology. Yeah, you're talking about these robots and these programs having your HR department with a robot saying, this is your form, fill out this, do that. Nope, you're wrong. You've been trained, certified. Yeah, right. That's a $200,000 salary that's getting paid to oil and water, to a robot. So is the future, can the future sustain, and those, again, we talk about losing jobs, where this human fuel idea of humans operating things and working them, because when you look at, like we talked about earlier in the beginning of the show, we talked about a big banker, a big executive of a bank. His job is very nothing. Like, I mean, you understand?
So that they just talk.
Can we do this? Yes. Like, he's overloading it. He has just a moral authority over a thing, and that's what's at risk here.
Right.
What's at risk is the fact that you don't need these over processed authorities. You can put it into more brick and mortar or more machinery or more mechanics.
Yeah.
I know in my shop, in the t-shirt shop, I would rather forego profit to buy more equipment.
Yeah.
I would buy something else that can make more and not take the profit now.
Right.
So
you sacrifice.
I sacrifice.
That's the part of R&D, research and development.
Research and development. Right.
But that's where, can that go to? I guess what I'm saying is, can that transcribe itself to a municipal services? Can it be the police station? Can it have a automatic dispatcher, a 911? Could that be totally automated?
Right.
Can it? You think a total automation of
RoboCop?
Ed 209?
But in that scenario, do you want that to be automated? Do you want that to be like? I totally understand where you're going,
slope, man.
but at the same time, there are certain things to which you want a human being to hear that transaction and to make a judgment.
Totally.
To make a judgment. One of the things that we're learning now, as we're introducing AI to all of our things, and to like, especially with like cars and like self-driving cars and stuff like that.
Right.
The ability for that machine, let's just say, to make a judgment, we're finding out is a lot more difficult than what we anticipated it being. Because what you do is when you make a judgment, you're kind of like balancing two virtues. You know, there's a good over here and there's a good over here, but I only got one choice.
I got one. I got 1 second, one chance.
So what? Right, and I had that in a minimal amount of time.
I got one chance.
You know, so that, you know, so if it's in a car, well, there's an old woman crossing the street and there's a kid over here. I got to turn somewhere.
Right.
Where am I going to turn?
Right.
You know, and you as a human being, you make that decision based on a myriad of factors.
Yeah.
You know,
but you can make the wrong decision too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
but to say that we can now fractionate that to where a computer or a program can now also make that decision. We're finding out that that's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Than what we anticipated.
See, I agree, and so here's why I think my friend Elon is so maniacal in his way, because utopia has to exist for these things to work.
Yeah.
No.
Damn near close.
Yeah.
Utopia?
Damn near close, man.
But that begs the question of what is utopia then?
A perfect. Everything has to.
Perfect society.
The other things have to be perfect. Like other cars have to be on the grid. There can't be any road cars on the grid for this to work. I think.
Right. Okay.
This is what I mean.
I see what you're saying.
In each faction, not world, not global utopia, but in the principle or discipline that we're talking. If you're talking about automated cars, all cars have to be
Everything's got to be automated because that one dude who's in the car making up his own mind as to where to go.
He's changing the algorithm. Right. He's changing the algorithm because he's a live wire.
Right.
And so this is what everyone's afraid of.
Well, that's and that's another thing that they're discovering that they can't account for. So they can't account for
rogues.
That one person that doesn't do what they're supposed to do.
Or hacking.
Exactly. Well, we haven't even talked into that.
But that's the guy. That's the rogue. That's a rogue.
Yeah,
listen,
that's rogue. This is rogue.
Listen, the guy in Las Vegas hacked the fucking rhythm. He hacked the algorithm.
The guy in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
he made the money.
No, fucking the guy that shot fucking 50 people.
Okay.
He hacked it. You know why? He didn't follow the profile. He didn't fit any of the fucking boxes. He didn't check any of the boxes that they were looking for.
Right.
So all of a sudden, this guy pops out. Boom. Bing, 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 bing. What happened? You know, so we're reacting. So as much as we want to be proactive and preempted, you can't avoid rogue.
No.
You can't count on crazy.
You can't
calculate crazy.
You can't count on crazy.
Even the machines go crazy. That's why we had the stock market crash, you know, because the thing just gets out of whack.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you said, utopia is...
But that's what I mean. Like, those things have to be, like... So what that means, in order to get that, in order to get conformity, in order to get everyone to get on board with it, you got to eliminate people that don't comply.
And it begs the question, do you want that?
No.
Were we talking about eliminating people here?
But listen, that's what happens in order for these systems to work. When you talk about,
it was a movie years back called Logan's Run.
Logan's Run, yes,
absolutely.
After 40 years or 30 years or whatever, they X you out.
Yeah,
Is that where it's headed now?
that's where it's headed for Elon. That's where it's headed for him.
If you want,
I hate to think that.
If you want his program to work, that's what you have to have. You got to get X'd out. Yeah. Yeah, you listen.
I want to do the guy doing the exit.
Well, look, publicly or anonymously.
We anonymously.
See, we have anonymously. Exactly.
There you go.
Who signed this?
The other guy.
But we have examples of this.
Yeah.
When we thought that
It's crazy.
Russia thought it was a great idea to collectivize everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
To say, hey, this, if you're a farmer, if you're a serf in like 1910 Russia, and you did well, well, they came up with this notion that, well, you did well because you kind of like stepped on the back of somebody who wasn't doing well.
Right.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to collect all your shit.
Yeah.
And we're going to distribute it. We're going to redistribute it to everybody. And that's not a good idea to you because you're like, well, wait a minute. I've kind of like busted my butt to build what I have here. It's like, no, you got to comply. Well, I don't want to comply. Bang.
Right.
You're dead.
Yeah.
So now you can either go along with this thing, or you can die. Or get shipped off to Siberia.
Right.
And now after we now know that this is how you decide to kill 40 million people or however many people they decide to do it. So if we're saying that we all have to be on board with this, it begs the question, well, what do we do with those who are not on board with it?
That's what I said. That's what
do we what do you do? Can we
it?
create a society that there is room? Matter of fact, this is America, so you have to. This is what we decided. We decided a long time ago that, hey, okay, this is how we're going to do things. But if you want to not do things this perfect way, there's still a place for you here.
Yeah, it's called Guantanamo Bay. This is the danger in the advancement in such a way that it is not for everyone.
Right.
So
you're right.
So does the planet itself, the elasticity of the world has allowed for everyone's melting pot, everyone's style, everyone's lifestyle to coexist.
Right.
And this monolithic thinking of that we'll all be better if it's this way is absurd. It's absurd to think that the world should be on one brain, should be on one way of thinking.
You got to be diverse.
It has to be and it should dichotomy. It should triple, split. It
so,
should be mitochondria. It should.
Mitochondria.
So in order for this to work, somebody needs to come along that has pretty much the same notion of what technology could do.
Yeah.
But do it in a way that sort of challenges, let's say, we started off with Elon Musk, so brother Elon, so that challenges his notion of what to do and says, hey, wait a minute, we can use this technology for other things that will sort of not
coexist, right?
That will sort of not leave anyone by the wayside.
Right. Doesn't leave anyone out,
so to speak.
Right.
So in a sense, we have to create a sense of competition.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. Competition is key.
Yes, I love that.
Competition and everything is key.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's important.
That's, if you it's going like I relay everything to sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No one does anything by themselves. It's always a team concept.
Right.
So you want to have mediocrity. You don't have any competition.
Right.
But if I'm competing for playing time, there's a way to do it, and you're going to excel. So you have to have competition. That's the only way, man.
Right.
I agree. I mean, listen, those Schoolhouse Rock videos were fantastic because they taught so fucking much in song.
Wow,
I mean, you
bring
go.
up some of the stuff.
These are the things we lost along the way. We lost a lot of trinkets.
Well, we don't want competition now,
right?
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, we become a society where we want everybody to be the same, and we don't want competition. We don't want.
Go to little league games. It's a tie.
Yeah.
You can't throw the ball too fast. You can't
everybody gets a trophy.
You can't press half court. When I was growing up, I seen teams getting beat 50-0.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Get your game tight.
Get it tight, right? Tighten it up.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
tighten it
saying?
up.
Like
Tighten
tighten it
You know,
up.
the world is cruel.
You
You
know,
got to
world
get in the
is cruel.
game.
Absolutely. You
That's
see
cool.
games. I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan, and guys get upset when like somebody hits a home run and they like flip their bat and whatnot. And the announcer always says, "Hey, does that tick you off? Then don't give up the damn home run.
Yeah,
There you go.
right.
You know,
exactly.
don't do that." And competition kind of drives everything, which is which is what they believe will happen with net neutrality. Now that net
competition,
neutrality is
yeah.
eliminated,
Yeah,
you gotta have- you're right.
okay,
You gotta
well
have
now we've
competition.
created
Now you look at it like that.
competition.
You're right. You're
So
right.
now,
You're right.
and
Yeah.
some people have said some stupid things like Google's going to charge you 99 cents for a search. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because
that was where it came from. It came from the charging days of
right.
paying for gigabytes.
But it's a silly it's a silly idea. It's a silly idea.
Yeah.
If you went on Netflix and Netflix says, "Hey, it's going to cost you $8 to watch this movie," you're going to say, "Well, the hell with Netflix."
Exactly.
I'll
Right.
find another thing
Find
to
the
do
next
it.
Netflix.
And somebody else, probably even an Amazon or maybe somebody
Yeah.
else will say, "Hey, you can come over here and it'll cost you $1 to do that."
People uploading free stuff all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Listen, content is becoming, what I will say is that I know you just like
I'm sorry.
just place it. Just
I'm sorry.
You
sorry.
just drop it like just place it.
As you can see, we're getting
a-
low.
he's a
We're getting.
football
I'm
player.
I'm a football player. I'm about the intensity.
kill
No,
destroy.
but now you got Disney taking over a shitload of. They just bought Fox out.
Well, Fox, yep.
But they did not buy the news part.
I don't blame them.
Well, I don't blame. Well, though,
So let it die. Let it.
They don't know
It
the
took
guy.
Murdoch's all his catalog. It took.
technically, that's not registered as news. It's registered as entertainment.
Entertainment. Yes.
That's
It
not
is pretty
right.
fucking entertaining.
It's
I know.
not
It ain't
registered. It's
fucking-
not registered as
it's
news.
not news.
Which is why internationally they can't pimp that as Fox News.
Oh, interesting.
So you're not registered as a news site. You're registered as an entertainment site. So they have to say Fox whatever. Fox
Sports. Fox
titties or whatever. Whatever
Fox
whatever
Trot.
they say.
Fox Trot.
You know.
Foxtrot.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, that's
so,
very
and I don't blame
wow.
them. I don't blame them.
That's
I wouldn't
interesting.
want that either.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for as we start to X off some things on the list? Is newspapers officially done?
Newspapers are done.
Yeah.
The newspaper market?
I like doing the crossword puzzle. You can do them on your computer, but for some reason I just like the
You like the paper in your hand?
feel. You know what I mean? You go to try to buy a newspaper.
There's a guy on the
airport, you
on the
can't find
train.
them.
Yeah.
There's a guy I ride the train with. His fingers are black
From the newspaper.
from the post.
Yeah.
The post leaves ink on your
Yeah,
fingers.
yeah.
And he'll tell you. I said, man, wait, it's the post. He said, but for some reason, I like it.
Yeah.
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 I like
yeah. I just love
He
the
loves
feel.
that lick.
Yeah, I love
He
the
loves
feel
that
of the
licking
paper.
finger and pulling the pages
You know
back.
what I can't do? I can't do a my son has a Kindle.
Yeah.
And every time I buy him a book, he downloads the book. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I want to like hold
You
something.
like paper book. You
I
like
like seeing paper. I like sort of like
Those
holding
two
it
things I haven't given up either.
and know that I've gone through 200 pages. So I've
Yeah.
kind of like okay, I've put some skin in the game a little bit now. So like I've got this one.
Yeah.
I can't just like digitally flip through
I can read,
something.
I can read articles, but for novels and stuff like
Yeah.
that, I have a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
going
too.
Over the light and stuff like that.
I can't do it.
Books I
I
actually read.
I fall asleep.
Yeah.
When I read, the longer I read, I fall asleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting though. But a newsstand, those guys fucking they're starting to sell more gums and Pepto Bismol
Yeah.
than they do papers.
Yeah.
They were newspapers. They were
Yeah.
newsstands, but they
Yeah.
don't sell newspapers anymore.
Yeah.
They sell Gatorades and all this other crap. So that's another thing that's gone by the wayside.
But there's something. I mean, when I get into work and I have some time,
Yeah.
I'll go to the deli, grab myself a cup of coffee, maybe a bagel, something like that. If there's a paper there, I'll flip through the paper. There's something I don't know. There's something just like relaxing about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something about just
Yeah.
sitting there relaxing and
I'll
taking your
still-
time and
Yeah.
flipping through
Yeah.
this thing.
Because we're old school.
Probably, yeah.
The new millennials.
Millennials.
Well, I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
I've been on my phone and looking through articles and stuff
Well,
like that.
listen,
but
it was a time where it was take a newspaper and to take a crap, right? It was
Yeah,
it was like a normal thing.
Yeah.
And now you take your phone in the bathroom and you know it's like
I went to the bathroom when I was down in Memphis with
that's
my
fucking
daughter,
weird.
and there was a newspaper on the floor there. I was like, this reminds me of the days when I used to work in the city.
But that's what I'm saying. Like in the bathroom, you would find a fucking Wall Street Journal and
Right,
a fucking
right.
shitter.
Right.
And
A
I'm like,
quiet moment.
I don't want to be here that long to read an article.
Right.
And I kind of, my hands are full. Like I
I got stuff to do.
I got stuff to do here, man.
Yeah.
So there will be guys in there reading the fucking paper, take a dump, like
Yeah,
like a long time, take your quiet time. The office, as they always said, the second office. It was like, but those days are few. They're numbered.
Yeah,
They're
numbered.
definitely numbered.
That's why you gotta always. I'm always myself. I lay up in bed at night sometimes, just thinking, what's the next best, greatest thing, that can catapult me forward. or do something that's good for the community, or just what's the next best thing. I think about this all the time.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody struggles with the same thing. They always want to know how do they. Well, here's the thing: when doing projects, most people struggle with. Oh, they playing music. It's like, come on, man, we're deep in here. There's a show going on here.
That's the background music.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
know,
That's
I
our
know.
background music.
Yeah, but it'll pop up on our thing, and it'll say, "Sorry, you've been playing this in the background, and we can't let your channel do certain things."
Well, if they don't conform, we should kill them.
No, we can look. Oh, so speaking of, no, but speaking of that, the conforming and all that stuff. Sorry, I think not Amazon, but cable Spectrum, which is Optimum.
Spectrum cable.
Yeah, what is Spectrum? What is that?
So they just that
It's
was
like
Optimum. They spun off. They sold. They changed the name. They
Yeah,
can't.
but see,
They just
yeah.
can't compete with Verizon. Verizon's such a mega house.
Okay.
That
All right.
some
Wait,
boards.
so Optimum is now Spectrum?
Yes. There's
That's
no
what
more
it
I
is.
haven't had cable in a while.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
these guys they switched. They just tried to compete with Verizon on a bigger scale,
Okay.
and they felt some members in the boardroom thought it might be, hey, it's maybe our name, maybe whatever. So
Right.
whatever, that's a marketing decision.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to make is they came out with something that is catching a little bit of buzz from people. Is they have what they call quiet time on their system.
Quiet time.
Yeah. So
What's
what we
that?
talked about earlier, Mom has a kill switch.
Oh.
Mom shuts everybody
Everything
down. We're having dinner, guys. Boop. She kills it.
Yeah.
She kills all internet.
Yeah.
And it's catching the
That is a great.
that's
idea,
catching
man.
the social people saying, hey, wait a minute, I kind of like that. I like quiet
Yeah.
time.
So you as a subscriber can say, hey, between 6 and 7.
They give you the tools to do it.
Well, she's got it on her phone. She's got the app on her phone.
Give you the tools
Okay.
to do
That's
it.
how they showed it on the
So
advertisement.
shut
for it.
everything down.
And she says, guys, it's dinner time.
Quiet
And no one's responding. This is how they did it.
Right.
They're engaged. They're
Right.
doing this. Dad's watching the game. The daughter's on the computer. The son is playing his video game. And she said, guys, I said it's dinner. You know what? She pulls her phone and she goes, phew, and everybody goes, oh,
Yeah.
sit down, have
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's being promoted. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that people have consciously woken up and said, hey,
Dude,
we have to address this.
We have lost the fabric of the family.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yes.
I'm from
My
North
man.
Carolina.
Mhm.
You ate at a certain time every day,
Yeah.
or you
Yeah.
didn't eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at least that's the time you come together. How was your day? What's going on?
Mhm.
And stuff like that. We used to have monthly meetings as a family. So everybody bring their ideas or their gripes to the table. What you don't like, what's going on in the house.
Right.
You can voice your opinion. We may not go along with it, but as long as you
Right.
present it in a lucid, tame manner,
Absolutely.
we'll that teaches you how to interact with people. But we've lost all that, man. No, I'm too busy to eat now. Come in, eat.
That's
While you're
horrible.
running, go back to my son goes to his room and eat.
I think we've allowed
My wife.
we've allowed other things to sort of get in the way of that kind of interaction.
Yeah.
And as somebody who's I've never had that myself, and so
Mhm.
when you try to implement that, it becomes difficult. But I'm seeing like the value in that
Mhm.
Mhm.
is just tremendous. It's like, no, at this time,
It's human growth.
time, we are going to get together and we're going to engage with each other as a human
family.
being. Even if you're a piece of shit, pain in the ass,
Yeah, but you know,
I want
this
you
is how
to
you
engage.
grow,
This
dude.
is how. This
Yeah.
is how. And that's another thing. I think we don't. I think like the opportunity for us to grow as people is sort of being diminished.
Yes.
Because
100.
we're not. How do you grow? You have you get an opportunity to speak with other people.
Yeah.
Whether it be at dinner, whether it be with a bunch of friends, whether it be on your college campus or whatever, and you say something that you believe in, and then somebody comes back to you and says, "That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard."
right.
And now all of a sudden you have to defend that thing that you
notion that
all of a sudden believe in, and it brings into question, well, what do I believe in?
Right.
Do I believe in this? Do I really believe that person made some good points? And so all of a sudden you have to engage, and now you either have to fortify your opinion,
Right,
or say, well, you know what? There's another opinion out there that I kind of.
Well, you're fighting for something.
Or you're fighting something different.
You fight for something that you may not even want to fight that battle for.
Back up for a second.
Yeah,
like you're talking about with Lavar Ball.
Yeah,
how you present, way others are looking at him, and the point you made earlier, it's always different ways of looking at
perspective.
things.
Right, perspective. Right.
You're saying it's the same exact thing. So to have that interaction, you see all these different perspectives, and you might not even entertain that notion.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
So cemented in that
in your way of doing it. Right.
Way of doing it.
Listen, but a lot boils down to kind of the Elon way or the non-Elon way is that.
We've said that word more than
I know. We've given him a lot of
power.
But you know what?
If he gets like a half a cent for every time his name is, he's gonna be a rich man today.
No, but
a rich man already.
But there's someone listening. There's someone out there, 1,500 subscribers or 3 million viewers. There's somebody that's going to say, "I don't know who that is. Let me find out." And that's
Elon Musk, right? Okay,
that's what we're looking at it that way. Perspective again,
right?
But now I forgot what I was going to say,
brother Elon.
Oh, so what I'm saying is that the one thing that everyone seems to miss all the time is that coexistence must happen for us to exist.
Right?
We have to just coexist. There's no one way. There's no one language. There's no one faith. There's no one anything.
Right. That's why we don't speak different languages and different
this
cultures.
Is all secular. Like so many things for anyone who ever thought that there should only be one, like their way is the best way. It's a maniac.
Hitler.
Yeah,
we talked about that.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yes. That's a maniac, bro.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
That's a maniac, and that's somebody that is not good because. My view doesn't mean your view. Yeah. We have different views. We have different ways of looking at things. I mean, come on. There's no one way to do anything these days. None.
Exactly.
So just, I think that people that don't embrace opinion, the right to disagree, like we agree to disagree, is the best comment ever.
Agree to disagree.
We shouldn't agree on everything. We're different people. We okay. That's how you feel. Cool. Let's go get a beer.
I know.
Well,
let's agree on getting a beer.
That's why I love bars.
That's
why I love bars. It's like one of the last places where you could
sacred place.
It's like one of the last sacred places where you could vehemently disagree with somebody and not get to a point where it's like a personal thing.
Yeah.
You can sit down and have a flail out argument with somebody about something totally different.
Right.
But you also understand that this person is coming from a particular point of view. This other person is coming from a particular point of view.
Right.
And guess what? We're here at the same spot, enjoying a beverage, having a couple drinks, watching this hot waitress expose her breasts and all that stuff like that. We're enjoying all of that, but we're still here and we're still existing. Right. And I might disagree with you, you might disagree with me, but we understand that, and we understand that that's how. That's kind of how the world works.
But that's the fabric. Right? Yeah, that's the fabric. And I think anybody that really doesn't embrace that enough, that doesn't take advantage of knowing the difference or can't hear it. Like when you get hard-headed people that are just so stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
And they just and foolish is the person who tries to convert someone also. So if you're trying to make someone understand you, you could tell in the 5 seconds he ain't getting it, man.
No,
and he's sticking to, he's pretty adamant about where he comes from, So why go there? Like, I mean, it's okay if you just want to rabble, if you just want to get them excited,
Right.
He said, like, what makes your way the right way?
Right, exactly, right. What
Right.
makes your way? Oh, but it stems to so many things that people hold sacrament. What makes your religion better? What makes your financial advice better than
Right.
this guy? What makes your school better? What makes your team better than me? Well, we
Right.
beat you guys,
Right.
but some guys are lost every game. My team's still better than yours. So, well, jerseys look better than yours. So whatever it is. The Dallas Cowboy fans will just swear that. The prominence is coming back.
Dallas Cowboys.
Those guys, the Dallas Cowboy fan, the mentality of a Dallas. And sorry for you Dallas Cowboy fans out there.
No, fuck y'all.
If you live in Dallas and you're a season ticket holder and you're a real fan, God bless you. But
there are a lot of front runners.
Expats. Well, you live in New York, but you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, or you live somewhere else and you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. And your only excuse is because your dad was a Dallas Cowboy fan, or it's tradition. Like, I don't buy the tradition of a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my dad was. Our dad was a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Man.
Yes.
Make me no fucking Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yeah.
It didn't make me. Did you like the Pittsburgh Steelers?
No, I do like the Pittsburgh Steelers, but not because of him. They're like players I like, but I don't really give a damn about the Pittsburgh Steelers themselves.
That's not a hand me down. Like, you can't hand down fandom. Can you? Well, I'm asking.
I guess you try to.
Now season tickets. That's about it.
Right, yeah, exactly. Right, you can hand my dad had these tickets. So that's
if you
why
watched the game with your parent, like your dad, and you were like a big, that was your thing.
Right.
I guess what I'm saying.
Right.
I guess that's part of the fabric that we seem to be missing. Right. You don't have that.
No.
But to do that, you have to be ingrained as a family.
Aha. So
to
we
do
kick
that,
it back to family.
Right. So if you have 3 generations of Philadelphia Eagles fans, that's because when your kid was 18 months old,
he took you to a
you
game.
drug his ass to a Philadelphia Eagles game and put the hat on him, and so to where even out of like no form of consciousness of his own, this kid is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. But because you've introduced that, because you interacted with that kid on that level. If you just want to say, hey, you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, why the fuck would I be a Philadelphia Eagles fan? Right. It doesn't work that way.
Well, listen, I really like that way of thinking. I like that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I like that perspective of it because it really brings back something what we talked about, what's missing. And that's family, fabric, and having some sort of mesh. Eating dinner. And actually, Cornell study just came out. It's funny we say that. Cornell study just came out showing that eating dinner as a family is so much beneficial for your family, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you needed fucking Cornell to tell you that, you might be part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because there's you can't put a price, or you can't put a tag on family and having that moment of just, shutting everything down and, hey, how was your day?
Right.
What's going on? How are you? And kind of that communal sitting at the table and just really having family dinner.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's relegated to most double working families have relegated that to a Sunday or one day a week.
One day a week.
At least have at least
one day.
90 minutes out of the week.
At least one day you could put down whatever you're doing.
You have life experiences that you can share. You have life experience you can share with your son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't just fall out of a tree.
Yeah, no.
Our kids want.
Right.
No. I told myself, I'm just trying to help you avoid the pitfalls because I know what's going to lead to it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to stop you from having fun and rain your parade.
Right.
I'm just trying to give you a little.
Right. Give you a couple, in a couple more steps, you might have this to look out for. Right.
Quicksand. Take my little experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Be
all.
careful of the quicksand.
It's like your grandparents. When they pass on, God rest their souls. Those recipes are gone unless you put them, store them somewhere. So you got to gain from that experience. Is my point.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've said a lot here. We've said a lot about leaving things behind and just family in general, because a lot of those values, unfortunately, get lost. And the millennial age and the fast technology and the need it now, the gotta have it, right away.
Watch the video. It's all There's
Right.
pockets of information.
Stimulate, like pockets of it,
Well, we'll go back-
instant
It's like me a
stimulation.
headache.
and
Go
stuff.
back
There's
to
no
when-
continuity. It's like,
Yeah, go back to when movies were a thing. They would, do the subliminals and flash Coca-Cola.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah. Coca-Cola, popcorn.
Yeah.
everybody want a Coke after the
Right,
movie.
exactly. Man, I'm thirsty. I don't know why. Just
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, Friday I played a little hooky and went to see Star Wars
How was it?
yeah.
by myself.
What'd you think?
It was fucking great.
Yeah.
Was it really?
They said it was the best. Everyone says it's the best.
I
of all
won't
of them.
say the best. I won't
Yeah.
say the best because I like the first one, which was Hope number 4.
Yeah.
How he
Mhm.
juxtaposed them. This was pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I didn't like the. I'll digress a little bit. I did not like the pre ones, the 1, 2,
1, 2, and 3.
because they were very whimsical. Like they had the costumes were like pasty makeup and
Yeah.
and they were like Power Rangers.
Right.
The Chancellor and
the
all
only-
these other guys.
And the only one we cared about was the last one. I mean, because you sort of like knew
Yeah. We just wanted to see
you
how
you knew what was going to happen.
how
So you really didn't give a shit about all that. Exactly. You didn't care about any of that other stuff.
Dude, you the sound effect man.
You didn't care about any of that other stuff. You just said, okay, how does he become this dude? We know who he is, and blah 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 blah. Okay, fine, yeah, he's a Potter racer. Blah blah blah. Yeah. We don't give a shit.
Yeah,
How does he? What happens here?
That dude needs his own show. Darth Vader. He needs
That's
his
your-
own show. He's his own talk.
I got this tremendous idea. It's like having a podcast and he has a guest, and it's Darth Vader, and the guest,
every time you ask him a question.
every time he asks him a question, what do you think is what do you think's happened with all this unrest on social justice and college campuses?
Forget it.
And do that for like 45 minutes.
Oh,
and
man. The power structure is but pretty badass.
Yeah,
Pretty
okay.
pretty cool.
Okay.
Mark Hamilton, the
Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
His
excuse
name
me.
right.
Yeah.
Put some respect on.
Put some respect on his name.
Was
Look-
Carrie Fisher in it as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Oh, she was able to film before she
I
passed
fucking
away.
cried.
Yeah.
I cried
Princess
because
Leia?
I know she's dead.
Yeah.
And they didn't kill her in the movie. That
They
was
didn't?
no.
So they had plans for her.
Fucking spoiler alert.
So they had plans for her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which was pretty weird, but you saw I saw a little CGI in there, like
Manny killed Harrison Ford.
man. But
Doesn't matter,
at his
killed him.
age, I get it,
Yeah.
But listen, a great movie. If you followed the franchise,
Yeah.
it's a great one. It's a little it got a little slapsticky
Yeah.
Okay.
with some little funny innuendos and
Mhm.
stuff.
Is there a brother in that still, or
Yeah.
Okay.
He
I wasn't sure what happened.
Nah,
Yeah.
Finn, the guy
Finn, yeah,
Finn,
okay.
the black guy that plays in Detroit.
Okay.
Which was
Yeah. He was pretty good in that.
yeah, he was great in
Yeah.
that. But there's a lot. The only thing I'll say about this movie, and I won't spoil too much. I won't spoil a lot. The only thing, there was a lot of what was the commercial? They showed a commercial where the kid goes, "Am I the only one hearing the majestic music in the background?" Because there was a lot of no, that's the commercial.
No, I'm saying.
I'm trying to think.
It's
of
like a
it.
Verizon commercial or something like that,
Oh,
where the
okay,
kid
okay.
goes, "Did you not hear the majestic music?" With,
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of moments where
That's crazy.
guys, there's no dialogue and people are just going, looking, and you hear this majestic music. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, nothing's happening. It's just playing music.
Right.
So, Lucas did a little trickery here. They did a lot of, majesticness. It had a lot of majesticism, if that's a word. It's not a word, but
right. I know you're saying.
so there was a lot of that was kind of like, okay, nothing really happened. They just played a sound, and I'm sure the people, like the soldiers, were waiting to shoot a guy until the music stopped. Like, it's like, I want to shoot you.
I want to shoot you, but there's no damn music.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
a lot of that really made me upset, only because we want fast pace.
How long was the movie?
It's pretty fucking long.
Yeah.
I went to
They could probably edit some.
a 2:45 movie and came out at like 6.
Yeah,
Jesus.
They could edit.
And it was
some of that.
snowing. Shit, my car was covered. I'm fuck. What the? Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And but this movie theater on Fresh Meadows, man, they got fucking chicken and waffles. They got cheeseburgers,
The Fresh Meadows?
pizzas. Yeah, I had a
Did they
pizza.
have? Do you
Not a beer.
You reserve your seats?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
reserve
did. I
seat.
They have
did
that in the
reserve
city, though,
this.
with the wine and stuff like that.
I
some of the
yeah,
movies.
the ones in Edison. But I
Yeah.
did reserve a seat, and I didn't sit in the reserve seat. I
Okay.
sat in the back with the next to the wheelchair seat because
Okay.
it was fucking great. But the recliners are
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
I laid my feet out completely,
Mhm.
pulled my jacket over myself, sat in a corner, and some guy sits. All the fucking seats that were
He
there,
said right next to
right
me.
next to me.
Why,
man.
that's his assigned seat, probably.
Probably was. It probably
Yes.
was his.
You're the
assignment.
one who fucked it up.
And I had my pizza box sitting on the chair. So he's like, yo, bro.
Oh,
But
man.
I've never eaten pizza in a movie
But have you?
theater.
No, me either.
But do you
Pizza.
see what movie theaters are now? I mean, like
Yeah,
like,
they're Lux. They're Lux.
they're just
super
they're
Lux.
just. We usually go to the theater out in the AMC out in Levittown.
Sure.
Levittown.
Yeah, and they have the huge recliners, but
Yeah.
they also have there's also a restaurant in there,
Okay.
Yeah.
and there's so you can literally go there and have a meal,
Yeah.
and drink
Dinner and a movie.
drink a couple
They-
beers, all that stuff there,
Yeah.
and I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you so don't do
Spend-
this on Netflix.
Spend a complete,
Yeah.
complete
Come
evening.
out, stay here.
Yeah.
Have dinner
The
and a movie
experience. It's
with
all about the
have an
experience.
It's about the
experience
experience.
and whatnot. We'll bring you your food if you want to have food brought to your seat. They'll
Yeah.
bring food to your seat.
There's a nice movie theater in Williamsburg called Nighthawk.
Okay.
Nighthawk. Okay.
Nighthawk. I think it's Nighthawk. Nighthawk. Yeah, it is Nighthawk. And it's
Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Okay.
It shows old films, a lot of older ones,
Okay.
that are
I like theirs.
outdated.
Alright.
It's a little cheaper, but they got a bar.
Yeah.
Like a full tap bar?
Tap beers.
Right.
They got tap beers.
Yeah.
And it's great. And you
Yeah.
fucking take your
Right, you can do that in Europe. In Europe, you can get like a glass of beer
Yeah,
and then go in.
yeah.
And
Well, they got to reinvent themselves because
Yeah.
because of what's going on with all this interaction, all this media stuff that's
Right.
available now.
Yeah, there's no reason for you to
to
go
go
out.
there.
Because now you can get. I think Amazon you can get a
theater releases.
you
out.
can get a release.
Yeah.
You can get a release movie.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, and I was a little privy to this, but fuck it, they didn't give me the job, so I'm gonna spill it. Burger King is gonna be the first ones to put beer in the fast food.
So funny.
Really?
Yes, it's
It's
happening.
true story.
It's coming out next year.
True story. I bought some stock in Burger King.
Yeah.
Did you?
This was years ago.
Oh, it's probably a good fucking idea.
I'm gonna do it
on,
when I get
on
home.
that same
Burger
premise. Same premise. Somebody told me they were going to start selling beer,
Burger King's gonna
but,
do.
but it turns out they were buying something else.
No,
But
no.
This was about this. Chad, this is about
Bro, if you still got it,
20
you're in
years.
good hands.
No, it's about 20 years ago. I
You're in
think.
good hands. I'm telling you.
By the way,
I'm
that's-
spilling the beans here because I have a
By-
gripe.
By the
Somehow.
way, that stock you gave me GTT, whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's still going up. Dude.
but that makes perfect sense because when you look at like the popularity of Shake Shack,
Yeah.
well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
What's the difference between Shake Shack and a burger? I mean, other than the quality of the food and blah blah blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
and
It's
all that
more
stuff
affordable,
like that.
so you got more money to spend on beer.
Exactly. So now, and I think didn't Taco Bell do something where we're gonna
Oh, I don't know.
where they're gonna offer like alcoholic beverages like in their like you get like a rum
Wine or
smoothie or whatever or some crap like
could
that.
be. Could be.
So why
Burger
not?
King's gonna do it, man. Burger King's putting beer taps in their fucking.
So why not?
It's going in. It's going in as early as 2018.
I guess I'm getting a Whopper.
I'm buying stock tomorrow.
You're gonna
I
get
guess
a
I'm getting
burger,
a Whopper and a burger.
and a beer, bro, and they're gonna fucking kill it.
I gotta find
They
out
are gonna
see
kill
what
it.
the
That fucking
parent company.
that fucking King versus Clown.
King versus Clown. That should be on a Capcom video game.
Oh,
King versus Clown.
You search that on YouTube. There's
Uh-huh.
fucking million of them. They show these two
King
guys
versus
fighting each
Clown.
other. Remember you saw the Did you like that?
Dude, that Carmelo Anthony thing is out of
Oh,
control.
Carmelo refuses to pass.
Yeah.
Do you see the one where at dinner table he refused to pass the salt?
Yeah.
no. He's like, he's sitting at dinner and he's like,
dude.
pass the salt, Mello. He's like, no.
No.
I can't.
I can take the shot. I can take the shot.
Yeah. Unreal.
Yeah.
I also saw a movie.
Mm.
There's this movie that I want to see.
Okay.
It's called The Disaster Artist.
Disasteroids.
Oh, I see.
The
The Disaster Artist.
The Disaster Artist.
Oh, I
Okay.
saw it on the stick.
And it's basically about this guy who creates this film, which is considered the worst film ever freaking created.
Okay, this is what's his name? The kid
James
from-
Franco.
James Franco.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And
So
he plays a real guy though. That's a real
Right, that's a real
guy.
dude. That's a real
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
So
he wants to make the worst movie.
No, he doesn't want to, but
it
that's what the movie's about. The movie's about this guy making this film, which is widely considered as the worst film ever created.
Right.
So I saw that film, which is called The Room.
The Room.
Yes,
Right.
The Room is the guy.
And you can find it on YouTube.
Right.
It's an old
And
rock
it
guy.
is
the worst movie.
the worst movie I've ever seen in my freaking life. But there's something fascinating about this movie.
Right.
To which you want to watch it.
Watch it. Yes.
It is god awful.
yeah.
But everybody loves the train
But
wreck,
it has become this thing into which everybody loves the train. They have like midnight showings of this movie, and plus, so even though this guy created a absolute horrible film,
right,
he himself is a success.
Yeah,
because he banked a couple dollars on this movie. And it's kind of helpful, like if I want to see disaster artists, I should have like a form of reference. Yeah. But it's amazing how this absolute,
it's like a cult.
Yes, it's like a cult to
it.
What
do you call it? The Rocky Horror.
Right.
Like
yes.
Rocky
yes.
Horror? A Rocky Horror movie.
The Rocky Horror movie picture show.
Yeah.
You've never seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
But why is it a cult?
Well, just that it
everyone goes to
everybody goes
they know
right.
the parts and all that
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so get at midnight.
Well, that's like Pulp Fiction
to
me.
It's a god.
Pulp Fiction's a cult to me.
It's a god awful movie, and it's amazing how it's still interesting because it is so freaking bad. And there's like 3 movies that I consider to be the worst movies ever in history.
Ooh.
There's
3?
This movie now.
Okay.
Which is The Room is taking over the spot.
Oh, The Room. The Room.
The Room, I think, is now the worst movie I've ever seen.
Right.
I, for the love of me, don't understand how Vampire in Brooklyn ever got made.
Eddie Murphy?
Yes. For the love of God.
Angela Bassett was in that too, right?
Oh my God.
But that's number 2?
That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Vampire. Please don't tell me you're going to give credit to Vampire.
No, I'm just saying I think I could think of 1,000 other ones worse than that.
All right, what's number 3?
When the question becomes, what's the worst movie you've ever seen? Vampire in Brooklyn, like the first thing that shoots in my head, And number 3 is this movie called I can't remember the name of it. It's
who's in it?
No, it's about this. It's about this kid who like his parents were both musicians, and because of that, it makes him sort of like a savant of music, so to speak. Even though his parents they had a one-night stand and stuff like that, but it sort of like plays this thing like this hereditary notion he has about music. I can't remember the name of the movie, but the movie was just
who's in it? Anybody? No principal actors?
No, nothing. Nobody I've ever
nobody
like. You know who's in it? The kid is in it. You see this movie called or this TV show, The Good Doctor?
Yeah.
Yes.
That
doctor.
That doctor is the kid.
So this is new
in the movie.
This is new.
This movie?
Yeah.
Well, no. This when he was a kid. He was like 8, 9 years old.
Okay.
Oh, I thought he was like 12 in the movie.
No,
in this Good Doctor. I never saw it. I never saw the Good Doctor.
He ain't a kid. He's like 20.
He's in his 20s or whatnot. But that was.
This is.
I really and the funny thing is, like, for the Vampire in Brooklyn thing, I think Eddie Murphy's made some great movies. I think Dr. Dolittle was a fantastic movie.
Fantastic franchise. I mean,
fantastic franchise.
It had several.
Bowfinger to me is fucking one of the greatest movies ever. Have you seen Bowfinger?
Bowfinger with him and Steve Martin.
Every time it comes on,
it's a great movie.
Bowfinger does a lot. Bowfinger has. Our key theme here is perspective. Bowfinger has several perspectives in it.
Yes.
It just has depending on which way you're coming from,
and it fucks with every single one of them.
Fucks with every perspective with them. It just changes.
A lot of those people got jobs behind that movie too. Is like that girl,
Heather Graham.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl that was overacting, the elder lady, she was the lawyer.
Yeah.
Jobs behind that, man.
But there's several. I mean, listen, make no mistake. Hollywood is offered the greatest contribution to American history, more than American history has.
Exactly.
Because it has told stories from perspective, and that's our theme today. It seems to be. Perspective has gone way beyond imagination versus reality, truth, pain, struggle, strife. You get them all, and Hollywood gets the bum rap of being fake. You know what I'm saying? And they don't get the credit for just being imaginary.
Yep.
Like
Imagine it right.
Remember you said to me,
creating something.
right? You told me, you said, why do you believe that? Like, and I said, no, I like the fact that someone took the time out to create something, and I like the creativity of Hollywood, not to be news. I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
right.
where. That's why I don't want it to be CNN
Right.
and Fox
Right,
and all that.
yeah,
I don't
right.
want Hollywood
Yeah.
in that business.
It's fantasy.
Right.
I like it to be fantasy.
I want it to be fantasy.
Fiction or
Escape from all the
escape from all
Yeah.
that other
crap
stuff.
that
Right.
you're doing
Well, that's
today.
what it should be. It
Right.
should be an escape.
This
It
is my
should-
2 hours to be,
Right.
Right.
Forget about all my problems or all that stuff.
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
I remember I went to see the first Planet of the Apes movie,
Mm.
or the first of the newer newer.
Okay.
You're
The
talking
Mark
about the first
Wahlberg,
Right. With James Franco. James Franco, and
Yes.
and it was the first in that
Okay.
franchise.
Caesar.
Yes. So
Caesar.
we saw the movie, and
Caesar.
me and my wife went to see the movie, and we're leaving. My wife is going in the restroom. I'm waiting for her. This guy walks up to me, and he says, "They expect me to believe a monkey could do all that?" And so, I'm taking him back. Like what? So a monkey can't do all that. And I'm saying, well, you do realize you went to a movie, right? You realize this is a story. This is a fictional recreation of some thematic themes that you can apply.
He's a prime dated for prime.
But this is supposed to be. And I mean, if you want to make it simple, this is fake shit.
Right.
This is not real.
He's a prime candidate for radicalization.
Absolutely. That's the first thing that came into my head.
Radical.
And like when you see the ISIS
gosh.
video, you're gonna say, "Yeah,
Dude,
that's
go
me.
get 'em. People are
Yeah.
just
Let's go get him." And it's like, well,
Crazy.
that
That was a perfect comment. You do realize this was a movie,
right. This was a movie.
There was in the previews to Star Wars, was a show way too previews are getting way crazy, but Rampage, which is the video game of with the gorilla and a
Like Donkey Kong?
remember Rampage, the game.
No.
Rampage was the two big, like a King Kong type of ape, versus a gorilla. I mean, versus a Godzilla type of thing.
Yeah.
Climb on buildings and you bust the building down. It was a video game, very popular video game.
Yeah.
They're turning that into a movie,
Really?
and they spun it in a real funky way which was really fun. It's going to be interesting. So that's it's going to be nice.
Well, that's how they're making the money. The kids, video games like Lego Movie and stuff like that. They change all these.
Well,
these
go to
things
Marvel.
there.
I mean, Marvel Studio. This Infinity War, by the way, is going to be fucking kick-ass.
Huge, yeah.
Yes.
I'm a
It's going to be
huge Marvel guy.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I just love, because you know why I like it, and I think you'll agree. What we saw 40 years ago, or 25 and 30 years ago, we always wanted this. We wanted to see it.
Right. You wanted the manifestation of that and something else.
Even
Which is why we
keep.
I need to keep asking. We got a buddy, you and I both know, Kevin Callender.
Yes.
Who we need to bring on here because he this dude he knows, like, from the actual comic book itself, all those stories.
Oh, he's comic centric, like,
and how they lead up into and so.
Kev, you're coming on the show.
Like what the truth should be and what it is. But it's like a manifestation of how we envision all of these characters.
Yeah.
I mean, when Transformers, for me, the first one, okay, the second, third, and
Well,
stuff
they got
kind of good,
they got kind of crazy.
Yeah, they got kind of goofy and crazy. I was in the bathroom. I took a piss after the movie, sitting next to the dude, and he was like, "Me too, bro." And I was crying, man. Yo, I was crying. I was like,
this is real.
I waited fucking 40 years for this.
This is real.
I waited 40 years for this.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, I was impressed. Like the
Yeah.
first one, not the second one. Every time they try to
Remake,
embellish, they just keep,
Yeah.
some of the Spider-Man, yes. I really like the comic book world. Like so Marvel Studio, and shout out to Disney for fucking looping that
They
deal.
looped that in.
Because,
Yep.
Trust me, they latched onto something fantastic.
Yep.
No doubt.
Because it's infinite.
Yeah.
That world
Infinitesimal.
that
Sure.
world had infinite
Right.
stock of characters.
And storylines.
Look, they're just now bringing Thanos into the fold.
Yeah.
Yes.
This fucking guy is gonna kick ass.
Yes.
Like, he's coming through like,
There's
oh,
so many opportunities.
And that's
man.
is that Josh Brolin? That's Josh Brolin's voice.
I think so.
That's Josh Brolin.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know
There's
if you
so
found,
many
man, this motherfucker is gonna kick some ass and it's gonna be fun. So if you're into the Marvel studio world, God bless. But I mean, man, I am having fun.
Can you imagine like a dude like Stan Lee, who's
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is now,
I don't think he's
but
around.
the dude spent 90% of his life
Thinking about shit.
Yeah.
broke,
Yeah.
and now
All
he's
of
in the sunset of his life.
Everybody living off his.
And now
yeah.
this is all
Come to
like
fruition.
his creation.
Please don't have a sex scandal.
Yeah.
No, no,
Please.
he has.
It's all about access, man.
Yeah.
You had a little comic book. That was it. That was
Yeah.
your only
Escape.
medium.
Escape.
Yeah.
The only medium you
It
had
was
to
an escape.
that. Now you got the videos. You can reach so many more people.
Yeah.
You know. So
We see he has. You think Stan Lee's had a goofy session in his office? There's not a casting couch. These are all. Well, I guess so. I mean, maybe
With Iron Man. All right.
Who hasn't? I mean,
Yeah.
just the way. I mean, however you want to define that.
Yeah.
Depends on. Listen, I think
depends on perspective.
depends on perspective.
Right.
I think
is
the
the
three
theme.
of us as older gentlemen who have lived a certain amount of life,
Mhm.
I'm sure that if you want to point to a certain thing that we've done,
Yeah.
we can all say that yes, we've probably done something that we shouldn't have done,
Yeah.
or maybe as a point now to
Sure.
say, okay, maybe that was a bad decision.
Sure, I would have
that
done
I
things
made.
different.
But now, does that mean that because we know that you should no longer have your job, you should no longer be able, now this company found out about this, well, we have to now fire you. Well, that becomes a huge thing. Like Tavis, I read this article about Tavis Smiley. Tavis Smiley is saying no. He's not going along with this because he says that there's one relationship that he had, which was a consensual relationship with somebody else.
Mhm.
He said all this other stuff that people are talking about is BS,
Right.
and he's not going to succumb to any pressure and stuff like that. He's going to take people to court and blah 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 and all that other stuff.
It's a hard subject.
the funny
And
thing.
it's tough because you can't like. At what point do you
Validate these things.
do you validate it?
What
Right.
about when somebody gets mad with you and at the
Exactly.
and say, okay, now
No,
I'm
revenge.
gonna accuse you
Which it
of
has nothing to
something
it has nothing to
How
do
you-
with
Revenge
how you-
accusation.
what it
how
says.
you-
Revenge
you know?
accusation,
or something never happened.
but that's the
Again,
thing.
I have a daughter. You have a daughter. I'm not sure.
Right.
But
I have a daughter,
do
yes.
not condone any of that stuff.
No.
Obviously, but
No.
there's two sides of the coin. That's my
Absolutely.
point.
It's perspective.
And there's an excellent article in Politico magazine.
Political.
Politico.
Is it a Latin man?
No.
No, it's just
No.
political for no reason.
Politico is the name of the
Okay. Publication.
So,
what they're basically saying is that there's going to be a huge backlash to this
Mhm.
that we are not going to be able to accept because
Mm.
if you're willing to say that, okay, because you did something or you are suspected of doing something 12 years ago,
Accusation. Yeah.
you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
And you don't have the opportunity for due process. You don't have the opportunity to defend yourself for it. Then, now, if that gets flipped around,
Yep.
how are you going to
How you
react
like
to
it?
it?
You wouldn't like it on the other.
How are you going to react?
Right.
So now, if you decide in your place of work, you're going to go into work and say, hey, this woman who's the head of human resources, she said she wants to do X amount of things to me and stuff. And the only thing it is an accusation. So now, because we've gone down this road of saying that, well, accusation is kind of like 75% of guilt.
how do you draw the line?
How do you draw the line?
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you have to say, well, we're willing to accept this amount, but we can't accept this amount and destroy somebody's life based on a simple accusation.
But this is where now
Perspective.
the perspective comes in. But this is where the 180 comes in with our friend. I won't say his name again because we gave him enough plug. This is where he's going with it.
Yeah.
He's saying if that's the problem,
Yeah.
let's eliminate
Yeah.
it. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of. See, okay, but this is
Yeah,
for every radical idea needs justification. And if that's the only thing you can say, look at all the sexual harassment cases we'll be avoiding, because it's so raw. It's on the top of the nerve right now. It would seem fitting to say yes to it. Right. You understand? His radical notion for his idea, as crazy as it seems, with all of this being at the top. Remember, this wasn't. All of these things didn't just happen yesterday. Right. They were festering.
It was bubbling. Right.
So, but it will be administered or handled, or some sort of adjudication will happen on the instance, on the one time, or the, hey, today is the day we say, you know what, no more, we're getting rid of all fucking, like in my business, okay, in the hotel procurement side of it, they've gotten rid of half of the bidding process. It's all done on the computer. You send your bid in. I don't get the face-to-face, because you know why they said? Oh, this is to stop the backdoor stuff. This is to give you the money on the back and the back end stuff. So they said, oh, put your qualifications in, and a computer says, boop, if you got the job or not. Okay. Now, in my business, how I was trained and learned, you had to get to know the guy. You had to have a relationship. You had to build confidence. It was all about that face-to-face communication and all that. They've taken that away because they exposed the negative side of it. And they said, well, by eliminating this, we'll get the true product. And all the projects that happened that way failed. Right. And they'll never admit to it because it's egg on their face. Well, the Cosmopolitan Hotel, I'll go on fucking record and say, Jesus. Cosmopolitan Hotel did the electronic bidding. They failed in it, and they spent 3 times the amount of money to rectify it, because they had egg on their face. They didn't want to go back and say, oh, this electronic bid failed. Now, had you had a relationship with a guy that could make this shit work, it would have worked. Yeah. But they went this
something's lost there, dude.
Something's
lost there.
Because there's no human, like you said, to drive to make that human decision. Right. There's something missing there.
Because first of all, you give all your years of experience. Come on. There's a price for that.
That's not an algorithm.
You can't gain that from just putting on, typing in some.
But the people that try to make life an algorithm,
they're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Whether you could make them avoid those pitfalls, but you shouldn't do this because this will happen here.
I can think on the fly.
Yeah, exactly.
I can think on the fly. The computer can't. The computer can give me a probability.
Well, we also relate, because you said you relate a lot of things to sports. In sports, when you look at a guy, let's say you're recruiting a guy, and he fits he checks all the boxes. He's a certain height. He's a certain weight. He can run this X amount of thing. He can do everything that we can fractionate to say that it's on the list. Mm-hmm. That person satisfies on that list. Right. But so because of that, you choose that person. And then all of a sudden that person doesn't work out. Yeah. But now here comes this other guy who doesn't fit all of that. Right. But you know what? When I talk to this dude, he always says the right thing. Yeah. Right. His teammates always have a tremendous thing to say about him. Yeah. When I decide I'm going to look at a little bit of film, man, this guy really, he's not afraid to struggle and afraid to
roll his sleeves
up and get some work done. How many people didn't?
That's caring, dude.
Russell Wilson was a 4th round draft pick. Yeah. Tom Brady was a 6th round draft pick.
I know.
And so there's something within that, like you said, that mechanical notion of this is what is, that we miss if that's the only thing we're willing to look at. There's something there's some tangible. There's some tangible there. Listen,
that's the word, tangible.
Derek Jeter is probably the greatest intangible player that's ever played the game, because when you look at him talent-wise, there's nothing about him more talented than anybody else.
He wasn't the greatest outfield shortstop.
No, he wasn't the greatest. No, absolutely not.
But he knew how to lead, carry himself. You could,
right,
dude.
Okay.
He carried himself well. He's like he showed up in big moments. There's value in that. And if you don't, and if you're not willing to look into that, you're gonna miss that.
Yeah. Listen. Anytime you avoid the elephant in the room, or the any of the soliloquies that we have, right? History has is the best algorithm as we know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
History itself, what has happened already, is the best teacher of. I won't say it predicts the future. It is what it is, right? It's behind us. It's past us.
Right.
So
Biggest teacher
by not doing. You can go back, look backwards, and say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
Right.
I don't do what he did. He went through some hard shit. I don't want to do that. So going forward, it may be the best trajectory way to give perspective on the future.
Right.
Not so much predict it, but it can traject it. It can almost make sure that if you respect it.
Yes.
You have to respect the lineage. You have to respect what happened, and you have to believe what happened.
That's past knowledge, man.
So this begs all the questions of when it's told wrongly, when history is skewed or it's given to you improperly.
Yeah.
You now traject a different perspective.
Yeah.
So if you told me Christopher Columbus discovered this, or you told me we walked on the moon, you told me this, and we traject this way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
None of which nobody believes. Except
What do you mean nobody believes? Well, you got a big man on the moon thing. So you just
clearly,
yes,
clearly.
So that needs to be
clearly.
But you're not a flat earther, are you?
No, not flat Earth. Whoever. Listen, that cult of flat earthers. I don't say they should stop because I like the fact that they make people try to prove it and disprove it. But
that mean it would go out into infinity.
Well, my question always becomes then, okay, so who's at the edge?
Right.
Who lives on the edge?
They keep doing this. All the flat earthers say that Antarctica is the edge, that we're surrounded by an ice cube, and that we can't. It's a big block of wall. It's like the Truman Wall. But someone's got to be on the other side.
Right, exactly.
That I don't believe. I totally don't believe that. I just do not believe that we walked on the moon. I'm 100. I'm gonna stick to that 100%.
I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. Listen.
We shouldn't do it. We've gone through this before. It's not going to change.
No, it's not going to change it. Right. That's the perfect agree to disagree.
He says, yeah.
I'm just not going to believe it because I'm a big believer in the rhythm. Anything that we've done great, we do it until it's exploited out to the end of it, and we've never gone back.
That's right.
Trump has said he wants to go back to the moon.
I know.
Trump has said he wants to go back to the moon.
And I can't wait.
So let me ask you this question now. So now we have an opinion about our illustrious president.
Yes.
Not necessarily a positive opinion, but we have an opinion about our illustrious president.
Okay.
So let's say our president sends whatever to the moon.
Yeah.
People, monkeys, fucking
robots,
kids with Down syndrome, whatever. He sends people to the moon, and we can.
Yeah.
And we can record it, and we can say we use the same mechanisms by which we said that we went on the moon before. Right. So
duct tape.
The question becomes: are you willing to believe one over the other?
Yeah.
Well, okay, yes. So not believe, but
and of course that's speculation because that hasn't happened yet.
Well, so two things happen. Two things with what you said. One, I wasn't alive for the first. Okay. So I can only speculate, right?
Okay.
Just like the rest of the world.
When they walk on the moon?
64? Allegedly?
69.
69? 69? Oh, Kennedy. When was Kennedy in president? When was Kennedy?
63.
Oh, 63.
Okay, so 64.
Why did I say 69?
Because you were born 68.
All right, well, it's the 60s, though.
It was in the 60s.
It was 64.
Wow. I think we've secured a certain amount of comments by having that discussion that we don't know when.
Right. I mean, that means we're no authority.
Which means you might be right. Maybe we didn't land on the moon. Because we don't know. Oh! But
oh, man. That is great.
Dude.
You gotta go to Hollywood right now, man. You do better than the original.
Man, it's all in the microphone, but
it's in the Ciroc.
Yeah,
it sounds good.
In the vodka.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, shout out to those that have trailblazed history and have laid the path. It is up to every one of us to embrace the future.
Yeah.
I think we've said a lot today.
A ton.
We've covered financial. We've covered, but the main thing here, our theme for this show is perspective, because you got to have a perspective on it.
You gotta have a healthy perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
shout
any
out
perspective is appreciated.
And shout out to Two Brothers.
Two Bros podcast, man. So guess what? I bought some fish yesterday. Friday. I fried some fish, and I hit Siri. I said, Siri, where can I buy some fish? And Siri said, go to Two Bros. Two Bros. I was like, yeah, I'm going to Two Bros.
We got fish.
So there's a place on. I'm gonna give these guys a plug.
Elmont Avenue, right?
Yeah, it's on Village Avenue.
Village Avenue.
Right off of Elmont Road. It's Two Brothers Fishing. Two Brothers Fish. They got a nice little spot there. They just took over the space. It was a Korean place that they had owned it before. Okay. It's across from Danny's bowling strike.
Okay.
And shout out to those guys, because I talked to them about the podcast, and I said we're going to come there. We're going to maybe do our next one in the fish store.
Oh, that'd be great.
Take it on the road. Yes.
No, we're going to put it. They said sure, we'd love to. I said, well, we're Two Bros Podcast. You're Two Bros Fishing.
Yeah.
Why not? So the guy said sure. Let me know. You know what I'm saying? So I got to give them some shirts and stuff, but it's going to be great.
Franchising.
That's
what you gotta do.
Well, okay. So the biggest thing that when you talk about that is, I think the future is going to come to a huge local market. Local markets will rise a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Again,
I am 100% on board with that.
Yes. Local markets will arise out of the ashes of the Amazon world and the Amazon takeover.
Yep.
Because
it seems like the
market for it.
It seems
because
like
we've acquired so much stuff.
It seems like the intermediaries are the ones that are gonna suffer.
Yes.
So
Target,
the Macy's and stuff like that. So you're either gonna get it from Amazon or you're gonna go to Two Bros.
Right.
You're either gonna go to this like mega online retailer or the guy around the corner that can fix your
I'll give you a
furniture.
perfect example.
100%.
I shop. I mean, for instead of the anti-Home Depot, it's True Value. Okay, we have a True Values in the neighborhood. Bought my snowblower, bought all my, because it's so personal. I can go in, talk to the guy, have a cup of coffee. It's one-on-one. It's very community, and that, my friends, is a hell of a lot better than some fucking kid who says, I don't work in that department.
Yeah. No.
I don't go over there. It's in the bag. Go over there. These stupid.
There you can't get service.
Yeah.
Dude, that's why you do buy on service.
Yeah, one died. That died.
That's dead?
Yeah, it died. I knew the battery was dying, but we're still live on here. So, and I think
it's all about service.
It's all about service.
Yeah.
So the local community. So we talked about where you wanted to go with what you wanted to do next.
Yeah.
There is a huge. I'm going to throw this out there because I'm not going to do it, but somebody else could do it. There's a huge propensity right now for. There was a gentleman trying to start like an Airbnb, but he did it called. And I'm going to give him a shout out. Uber Tools. Okay.
Uber Tools.
Okay. Okay. I don't know the guy's name. He inboxed me and we chatted for a second. I was like, good luck,
Yeah.
But his concept is share your tools. You got a chainsaw. You're not using. It sits in your garage. You use it once.
Right.
Someone else can use it while you're not. Don't go buy a new one.
Right.
So we're perpetuating the China markets of just continuously buying shit when you don't need it.
Yeah.
For the one and dones.
I know.
So if you had a community of people, which does evoke some interaction between communities.
Exactly.
It's saying, hey, Chad, you live up the block. Can I borrow your pruner?
Yeah,
like Dre, I hit Dre. I said, Dre, I need your pruner. I want to cut this tree branch. No problem, bro. Come pick it up, leave it on.
Yeah.
So now there's a service that this guy wants to put online. He wants to put this as an app and kind of, and I don't think that the app will work for it because it needs to be community. It needs to be face to face.
Yeah.
And that means go knock on your neighbor's door and say, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
There's a great book.
Yeah.
The book is called Tribe by the author's name is Sebastian Junger. He used to be a.
I was liking you before, but I love you now because you're talking about books.
No, listen, this is why we coexist.
I love you now, bro, because I talk about books, dude.
We coexist
art, man.
because he's the scholar in the reading and writing side.
He used to be a war correspondent. And then he became.
What's it called? Tribe.
Tribe. The book is called Tribe, and it's not even a long book. It's a small book.
Okay.
You can probably get. I mean, if you're a voracious reader, you could probably get through it within a weekend.
Okay.
It's what I like stuff that I can like pick up and like read on a train and stuff like that, and get through 15, 20 pages at a time.
All right.
But the notion he basically brought out was that the sense of community was the most evolutionarily
vital.
was the most valuable thing you had.
Yes.
As you grew as a society, because you could not exist if you did not fit within that community.
Yes.
So if within this small community you were the asshole of the group, well, guess what? When they brought back a deer and everybody took part in it, well, you might be the last person that got theirs for their family,
right?
Right. Okay.
If you were the guy that didn't participate when everybody cleared out brush because they wanted to get access to the stream or whatever. If you're the guy that didn't want to do that, okay, well, fine. We just might have to kill you because you're more of a detriment than an actual asset.
Or you're pissing in the pool. The guys that peed in the that pissed in the lake of the. Hey, I've got my fish now. Go fuck everyone else. That kind of selfish
and that sense
selfish.
that sense of belonging and that sense of community is kind of like what gets us into trouble, because now there's no need for that.
Yeah,
there's no need for that because we can get everything online. We can you can go like one of the things you said earlier. There's no reason for you to interact with another human being to get the things that you want.
Right. You can do everything by yourself.
You can do everything by yourself. And so now it begs the question, well, what value do you have? He points out stories.
Zero.
He points out stories to where during the Revolutionary War, or during the time when Indians were Native Americans were conflicting with what are now Americans and whatnot. And Native Americans would take, people hostage and kidnap. There were a lot of people who didn't want to go back to their
they like this new thing. They like this
because they felt that they were a part of something.
Yeah, they wanted to work. They
felt that they were a part, and they weren't treated badly.
Right.
They weren't treated. They weren't beaten or anything like that. But listen, you're a part of this. This is your responsibility. And if you live up to your responsibility, well, then you'll get the residuals of somebody else's work. And then you'll get the residuals of somebody. So this person's a great carpenter, or this person's a great hunter, or this person's a great builder.
It's no different than what's going on today.
Right.
But that's
it shouldn't be.
But no, but that's what, again, that's what's missing. That's what we all think is missing from the community.
Right. And if we bring it back to community in which everybody just relies on everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this person's a great fishmonger, so I can get food from him. And you know what? I'm a decent carpenter, so you know what? Hey, how about a couple loaves of fish or whatnot? Hey, I need some help building this staircase in the back and stuff like that. But you can all of a sudden share those things.
But you, meaning the individual, must have a skill to trade.
Yeah.
You must have something to give.
Right, you gotta be able to give something.
You can't just be given direction. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
sitting back and reaping the rewards of everybody else.
The European trajectory to this system was, hey, we can manage everyone. We can tell all of the talented people where to go.
Right.
And give us the, we'll sit down and we'll eat. And you guys can.
We'll make the investment. Right. We'll give you all the money to develop it and
well, not even so much. They brought management. They brought
a management style.
They brought a management system into the fold, which kind of was a little bit of the downfall because it created that. Even when I was in the hotel, it was when I was a hourly employee, I was cool with everybody. When I became management, jefe. You think you're jefe. You think they're never gonna give you the So you break that invisible plane between management versus worker, and with the if you have the respect,
Mm-hmm.
when I got to management, I came from the scrub and floor. So I love.
You came up.
I love telling these guys, "Hey guys, I'm up here. You got an advocate. I'm with you.
Mhm.
I'm you. I'm just upstairs. I just got I got a tie on now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was able to advocate for some of the people that didn't have the voice. 90% of it was. Now, if we went to a robot system, I wouldn't get that job.
Right.
That was personality.
Right.
That had nothing to do with. That had nothing to do with how much work I did or whatever else. It was all personality. It was all personality.
Yeah.
It was all because he was able to talk, manipulate, take the conversation for what it was, re-spit it back.
Know how to deal with people.
Knew a few jargons, especially when you know acronyms and TBD on the XPG and the 1, 2, 3 and the ABC.
Yeah.
Back to you, Chuck. You know,
Right.
But whenever you could speak the vernacular of any type of
Yeah.
situation, you've increased your chances of becoming more viable in that system. So what you said was very perfect, because that sense of community, everyone wants the leader. Every community wants a leader, and that's where it all goes wrong.
Right.
Because the leader either abuse. If you get a good leader that doesn't abuse, when you get I watched another documentary. I'm sorry to keep going back to TV and documentaries. I just watched The Cameraman in Cuba on Netflix, and I got
Cameraman in Cuba.
Cameraman in Cuba. This guy went back from 1970. He's been going back and forth to Cuba all these times and chronicle. And he's the only guy that, like Fidel Castro, like, yeah, my friend, come in. Listen, great documentary. This guy put all this stuff together, and he took years to do it. And it's a wonderful piece, because he talks to real people. He talks to farmers. He's showing what happened, what's going on, like how did we go from here to here, and he chronologically shows Fidel's saying, if we don't take care of each other, how can we expect some people to come in here and exploit us and want you to work for them and this? Let's take care of each other
first.
Let's take care of all this stuff.
Take care of home.
His only downfall was that he had a huge dependency on the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
He had a huge. All his stuff was coming from Russia. Yeah. All his crops and grain and all this stuff was coming from the Soviet Union. And when that got cut off, shelves was bare.
Yeah.
And he had nothing to give the people. So he kind of. Again, going back to perspective, you look back, you could look at that and see where he went wrong. He made a mistake. Yeah. I'm willing to say that he made a mistake by putting all his eggs in the Soviet basket.
Yeah. Well, he changed the culture because they were getting exploited anyway before he took over.
Yeah.
Right.
So, 100.
So his ideology was the correct ideology, but like you said, he put all his eggs in one basket with the Soviet Union.
For sure.
I can't agree with that.
Yeah.
I can't. Well, because once you become so once you say you're going to be with that ideology of, because one of the things that he did was he basically vanquished any notion that if you're not down with this,
you're against it.
You're against it.
Yeah.
Right.
And sort of didn't allow for any other form of idea or any other way of doing things. And so we romanticize about Fidel Castro and stuff, and yes, everybody got an education, everybody got their rations and all stuff like that. Yeah. But there's a lot of dead people because of Fidel Castro.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And there's a lot of dead people who basically said, "Hey, wait a minute, I think there's a better way of doing this."
Yeah.
And they died. Everybody who's got that Che Guevara shirt on, Che Guevara killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So while we can be, I guess, maybe like emotionally connected to what the ideal was, the practical application of that ideal kind of failed.
A little skewed, yeah.
It's skewed a little bit.
I'm a big fan of the whole process, but I think that they were being exploited from one end. Yeah, there's a happy medium somewhere, but he just went too far.
He went too far the other side. Okay, right.
All right,
Right.
maybe I should
No,
have said that.
he dealt in absolutes,
Yeah.
and he says that
Absolutes.
he says
He's
that
back
in
to
he
absolutes.
Yes.
says that in this documentary.
Yes, he
It's
dealt
either
in absolutes.
yes or
Yes.
no.
Right.
Right.
There's not
No,
a gray.
there's
Right.
He deals in no
there's-
gray area.
Yeah.
He's a general. He's a
Yeah.
you know, he's saying
And
that
it's not
there's
life.
right.
It's not
He's
life.
like
Right.
there's no wishy-washy. There's
Right.
yes or no.
Mhm.
Right.
Like so. I mean, you kind of got to respect that. And what I saw out of this documentary was I saw the people who had the Cubans who were born lived there all their life, who knew no other way other than Fidel Castro's way, saying to themselves, "We're down because we're with him. We're with him. They were with
Right.
this
Oh, yeah.
guy.
No, yeah, absolutely.
They said we will be poor together."
Right.
Oh.
And he didn't live any better than the rest of them. He didn't have mansions and all this other stuff. He said allegedly, and
Right.
you know, he lived poor.
Which is why you could romanticize about
Right.
Fidel
That was
Castro.
where the
Right.
romanticism came
He
from.
was well educated, came
Yeah.
from a good family
Yeah.
and stuff. And I went there, earlier this
You
year.
went
Yeah.
earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great education, you know.
Oh, it's great.
What went
It's-
on there. And they struggle when they don't. The problem, I think, is that they struggle when they don't have to.
Yeah.
Because they have so much resources, but the regime won't allow them any type of. I think the millennials coming through now.
Yeah.
Will probably move somewhere towards the other way, but they just won't allow.
No.
them any-
What will happen? And unfortunately, what will happen here? And I'm not
There's
saying
no
I'm
internet,
not right or
none of that
wrong.
stuff, man.
No internet,
But
no,
now
no visas, no
some of them are
cash,
getting
no.
that.
So-
You have a certain amount of times in the libraries and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
now they're starting to see the whole
The world. Right.
You know, I'm not playing a radicalization of what they're doing, but
Yeah.
they've got, you got to change because they have resources, man.
Listen,
Dude, they can make money. They can
the
change
guy,
that whole
the guy
thing.
that puts. This is why Zuckerberg tried to put his satellite over there.
Mhm.
They throw these hurricanes over there. They throw these they
They
fuck
throw
around.
these hurricanes.
Yeah, they make shit so they can go in. man.
Stop.
Come on, man,
They
you're a fool.
throw these hurricanes
Yes.
over there.
They a
Yeah,
harp.
they go up there
So
and
there was
figure
a
out how to do it.
deliberate intention to
Yes.
create hurricane conditions
Yes.
over there.
To create a need.
Yes.
2 Bros Podcast.
Two Bros Podcast, episode 14.
I love my brother. But that is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my
Wait,
fucking
you
Don't
never
be
heard of
surprised,
harp?
man.
You never heard of harp? You never heard of,
All this is, a lot of stuff is man-made, man.
come on.
What?
This guy still believes that rain comes
Oh
down.
my God.
Some of it is, a lot of it is, but it's manipulated. It's
You're
manipulated.
outnumbered.
So
outnumbered.
we all believe in what? In
Weather
I
machines?
guess we believe in weather machines and chemtrails and
Oh,
all that stuff.
The stuff
Okay.
stuff they throw up there creates problems.
You were a rational human being.
Bro,
as
listen.
you walked in.
I'm just saying, it happens. It happens. Trust me.
If the possibility exists, it can happen. So, allegedly, we'll leave it at alleged. We'll leave it at alleged. What's wrong with that? We'll leave it at alleged.
You see all the fires going out west now. It's a result of what they're doing, man.
The photon laser has been annihilated. We
my
have sent a
gosh.
photon laser to Napa, California.
Oh,
The unfair thing is that we started this on my third vodka.
Oh, okay.
If we just started this when I was drinking coffee
Coffee.
towards my third vodka, this would have been a much
different
different
conversation. On that note,
Jesus Christ.
Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa.
E-Love, thanks for coming to the show.
No, thank you, man. This was a pleasure, dude.
This
a
was
pleasure, man.
great for having you
Yes.
here with us. We
It was
we
good.
normally talk about nonsense. We were able to talk about some financial security.
Yeah.
We were able to talk about perspective, and that's
Mhm.
more than anything else. So on that note, we're going to leave. Would you like to leave with any comments? You want to say anything to our fans here? We have 1,500 subscribers right now. And,
1,500 subscribers.
yeah, we're getting there.
So hopefully we'll have 3,000 by the time. we
Yeah,
get
well,
to
that's
that.
a beautiful thing.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa to
Absolutely.
everyone out there, and it was a good pleasure being
Yep.
here today, and I hope to be invited back.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
will absolutely be back because all those people that open that TD America account and lose that money,
They're
don't
going to come
blame.
back and say, hey, where's that dude at? I said over the kitty,
But hey, listen.
Buy low and sell high.
Buy low and sell high. We want to thank you for joining the Two Bros Podcast. We had a great time today.
Peace.
Hey, make sure you be a blessing to somebody else.
or fuck them,
Peace.
Or not.
whatever.
Anyway, Two Bros Podcast, episode 14.
Dot.
We are out of here. Bye.